Hi, how's it? Or something. What's up? No, no, no. I really hate, I loathe when I don't get my lighting conditions the way that I want them the first time around. My goodness, like, can life get more ridiculous? Can it? This environment, one day's one day. Like, I can't tell you enough. I'm gonna be coming from some, like, background that's gonna give you a run for your money, make you get heebie-jeebies, you know what I'm saying? Hey. Okay, look, I don't know what to do with my lighting conditions. Everything just is not working out. But hopefully we'll get it right. I don't know, like literally, I'm not what's in. Na 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 na. But anyway, how you doing? I'm all good in the hood. First time the sun came out in a couple of days, and I'm like, whoa, it's about time. Still have not managed to change my bed linen because it's murky outside. It's wet, and that would not be an excuse if I did not have a pet. So, yeah, it gets all messy. So I tend to deal with that a lot of times with like a blanket that I'll put on top of my bed so that when she hops straight into her establishment. Mara, I still was like, let me just wait it out. Anyway, I also wanted to only change my bed linen after getting my hair did. The thing about once your hair stops being tight, like hard knock, it starts to itch, and that's just the like bane of my existence. I do have a sensitive scalp, and I have been working very hard to eradicate itching. Having a protective style on my head for 2 months works because then there's no manipulation. At some point I stop itching, but right now I am itching. I made a massive mistake when I was plaiting this. I made it too tight, so I've been waiting for literally almost a week. I think it's 5 days now for my hair to loosen out. I've been using a massager on my head to grow it out faster, to give me much needed relief. I loathe to take painkillers for it because one, I tend to not even have access to them a lot of times, and secondly, I cannot get myself or my body used to relying on artificial analgesic extras, because then it's not going to work for itself to conquer certain issues. Plus I wanted to experiment with the, what do they call it? The inversion method. So I don't do the inversion method on my head. So basically what the inversion method is you lie on a couch, a bed, or whatever upside down, and you just let like the blood flow to your head while you massage your scalp. I don't do inversion method, one, because I don't know, I don't want to get dizzy, and secondly, I don't have space in this environment to do that. So what I do is just massage my scalp, and I don't have a scalp massager. Typical. What I have is a big fat chunky like thing that you put on your neck or on your back here, and you just lie there and go zzz, but then I put it on my head, and that's what I've been doing the past 5 days to try and grow my hair out. Has it worked? Well, my hair's not as tight as it used to be, but some might argue that that's because your hair has just grown normally, as in like that's a natural growth cycle. Back in the day, it was like that, where it is that my head would stop being tight after about 3 to 4 days to 5 days after Gilocha. Mara, back in the day, I used to supplement all that with grandpa, so I can't feel it. Grandpa, feel too tight. Mara, it's also not responsible to be plaiting your head so tight that that you would feel the need to take a painkiller during your season of overcoming that, because that could really mess up with your life. Tension is an issue. I am a new cornrower. I'm new at Olocha and stuff, so I don't know how to quite master the craft of being gentle on my head or not like grabbing hair too tight because of the fact that I've got butterfingers. Like my grip game is not quite where it needs to be. I sometimes like grab hair too tightly and I just kind of hold on to it, and then I plait, and that's what eventually causes so much tension on my head. So I'm gonna have to get better at cornrowing in order for me to have less tension on my head. Mara, I cannot afford to be over and above my very painful life conditions, be struggling with I'm pained literally, like everything is tight. So next time, let's hope for better. However, last time I did do my cornrows, I did them on wet hair, damp hair. It was still all coiled up and I could not even grasp it as much as I wanted. A lot of it slipped out of my hands and it wasn't that tight. So maybe the solution in the run-up to me figuring my grip game power, my grip game powers, maybe I should just like continue to cornrow my hair when it is a damp amara. When it's damp, it unravels quickly because I haven't grasped it all that well. Perhaps the only time that it would work if I plaited damp is if my hair is so long that I've got so much hair on my head that even if some of it slips out, really it's all gonna just get caught in anyway, because the individual strands are very long. Right now my hair is a TWA, but I'm not gonna be seeing it again for another 2 months, so praise the Lord for that, and let's hope that it grows out sufficiently enough for me to plait damp hair so that I don't deal with the level of tension that I've dealt with. Literally it was so tense that 5 days is what it is that I had to wait, and even now it's not entirely like free. Like I felt like there were pins and needles on my head, like spit forward, could you understand? It's like digging it into my scalp, and the only thing that helped was the scalp massager. So if for any other reason than the fact that it relieved me from the pain, I can't really say that the scalp massager actually did help grow my hair. It's not an actual scalp massager, it is a wait, let me show it to you. How cheeky improvs, okay? I improv like no man's business. This is why it's like a massager for your back. Like you put it here and you just chill, you're like I use that on my head. So you can imagine how silly I look, and on top of that, the noise it makes is so high that I can't even hear what I'm watching on like YouTube or Netflix. So I have to basically pause or put it at a low setting. So yeah, like these are my challenges. So this is the kind of massage that you would put there and be like, oh, my back was hurting. Or you would put it on your neck and lie down like, oh, my neck. But I was in Bogoto like that. It's on. It's currently vibrating. And sister be like, Nkosi! I did this. And the relief, I kid you not, was instant. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it distracted from the attention of the painful tight sites. The vibrating motion distracted from the tightness, and so I kept this on my head for hours. Okay, sometimes even sleeping with it on because it was so tight to sleep. My head was like, there was so much tension that this thing in my body helped me, and it became like white noise as time progressed, like the kind of noise that you eventually get used to. Like, you know how when you live in an area that's bustling with traffic on the outside, or you work there, for instance, the CCMA building in downtown Joburg, I couldn't understand how anybody there was able to keep a focus at all. The arbitration rooms, I mean, y'all know my life sucks, so I've been through the CCMA and it did not work well for me now. I'm coming back for that, okay? It's a bitter point, it's a trigger, so let's just not get too much into detail about that situation. Mara, the arbitration rooms where it is that they talk about people's cases and help people get justice or lack thereof. It's like literally right opposite Mostrateng, sa Gandhi Square, like Ilof. It is so loud. Buses, like hooting taxis. And I mean, I worked at an office building where none of this was an issue. Go MTN. And I used to like take myself to boardrooms in order to get some kind of peace and quiet so I can do my work. Because I'm very iffy and pedantic like that when it comes to with peace. Like, I'm the kind of person that might actually slap you by mistake, maybe commit some kind of a heinous crime if you interrupt me in the middle of me doing something. I don't know how to multitask, and when I'm concentrating, I'm concentrating. So that so for the purpose of not being rude, like violently to my colleagues, I would just walk a boardroom and sit in there for like 2 hours and do my admin, do whatever it is that I needed to do to get stuff out the way. And this was in an office building that was relatively decent in terms of noise levels. Like, it was just a chatter here and there of random odd colleagues doing what it is that they're doing. There was no audible noises from traffic outside on 14th Avenue, nothing. It was quiet, and I had to book a boardroom despite that. So like Gandhi Square, like, my goodness, like a building where you are supposed to be litigating, advocating, doing your job, a case on behalf of a client, and you gotta concentrate through buses rolling around all up in that environment. You hear everything. There are no soundproof facilities. South Africa, I can't like criticize this nation enough. Like, everything here lacks sense. They were supposed to hire an ergonomist in order to make an individual comfortable in proceedings, and in order for them to indeed be given a non-biased case, you need to put them in an environment that is quiet enough for them to not have any extenuating factors that might alter the outcome of their case. I find where it is that they have placed the CCMA headquarters, somewhat Johannesburg, quite irresponsible, frankly, like downtown Joburg. Are you serious? I know a lot of government buildings aren't there, but they were supposed to put it somewhere where it is that noise levels are very low. If at all you insist on having CCMA buildings in downtown Joburg, they were supposed to hook up soundproof rooms, so people are not nervous, so they're not scared, so they're not distracted by all of the what ultimately becomes, I call it, white noise in the background. White noise in the background. It's like being in university and trying to study through a bash just outside your campus, like your particular res. It starts out kind of like impractical, but because you know that you got a thing to do here, otherwise you're going to fall off the bandwagon and fail. Somewhere along the way, all that doof, 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 and the screaming and the crying and the bottles falling on the ground, it gets incorporated into the noise levels of the room, and so you are able to study right through it. It's a whole discipline and practice. You kind of have to, you have to, what is the word that I'm looking for? You have to develop it. It doesn't just come easily. And when I was, I represented myself for CCMA. Some people might want to argue that that's the reason why I lost. I am literally like a jack of all trades, master of all. I might not have finished a law degree, but I know how to freaking represent myself. Is that basic? I'm like Isaac Wright. I don't know if you've seen that show on Netflix, For Life. I am the kind of person that goes to law school just so I can like fight my own case because I don't trust lawyers. Is that basic? Anyway, whatever. So I did a lot of studying, a lot of my own research in order to I would stand for myself in the gap because I didn't trust any random human individual to do anything better by me. I didn't trust a lawyer. Plus, I wasn't about to pay anybody that amount of money given that I was about to lose my job. And I rocked out there with all my documents, like gargantuan stash. I slayed that little like Oompa Loompa. He looked like an Oompa Loompa or Tweedledee or Tweedledum or whatever from MTN. That like random Okie with a shirt that's about to pop a button. The way it was so tiny, like, don't you have a salary to buy you a new shirt or something? I don't know. That Oompa Loompa could not for the life of me deal with me in that particular like meeting, that arbitration. The defender on behalf of MTN, he kept on paging through everything, I would argue a particular point and he would disregard that whole body of information entirely and like move on to something that he keeps on rehashing. I don't know how to explain to you. It's all recorded, so I'm not even coming up here making up stories. Like the nice thing about my case is that everything I say is backed up with audio, visual, or audios of people's actual voices. Like, I have people that have literally been busted with their pantyhoses all up in like public display, showing, gawking, and they nonetheless voted against me. I've got such exculpatory evidence for my case, substantiating my innocence, vindicating me, therefore, that I'm not because Africa is a corrupt freaking country, I will never ever get anywhere in terms of getting justice in my particular case. And so therefore I gotta go and become like a whole social media influencer first, become a person of interest generally in other countries other than this one, grasp for myself international attention, following which South Africa will then be made to look like a seedy little rando that is absolutely disregarding of their own rule of law, where some people are above their law, and so therefore completely innocent people with damning evidence against their opposition, against their accusers type establishment thing. The disregard of all of that will then just make them look flat out irresponsible and disinterested in the expansion of human rights in the nation. And so Karabo is a woman that almost died because Africa ignored its own law. I'm sitting on a case that gargantuan, it's mammoth, and people expect me to just drop it. Chill. Blom, make like a flower. This Oki was a MTN, the one that looked like an Oompa Loompa. Oh my goodness. He kept on going back. Like, I don't even know how to like explain to you just what his argument set was, and how he sort of kind of tabled his argument. It's like he walked in there knowing that I'm going to lose the case, and so he didn't even have to try very hard to make me look guilty. He just had to keep on rehashing on one thing over and over and over again, no matter how many other extenuating documents I provided, no matter how many other areas of argument that I brought forward. And after, mind you, successfully defending myself against the one thing he kept on raising, it kept on happening over and over and again. And I started to notice that even the advocate Wako CCMA was strangely biased, and he was just taking, with all of his like legal training, the non-biased side. He was taking the side of MT. It was obvious. Like, they were trying to make me look like some silly little girl that thought that she could come here and defend herself against a big fat corporate. No, I'm sorry, I'm innocent, and my like evidence is hella freaking like exculpatory. Like, I am entirely the person here that is rather the plaintiff as opposed to the defendant. In other words, I'm innocent, and I'm trying to defend myself against a chunky, gargantuan, megalomaniacal corporate that is literally in the process of decimating my entire career, everything I've ever worked for. It was a matter of life and death, and guess what? They chose to kill me. I was entirely innocent. I was entirely innocent. To this day, the documentation will be shocking for anybody at all with a neutral mind, anybody at all impending it with no other knowledge, no other information, but just reading the documents without even seeing the girl behind the action. They would be like, how in the world did this girl lose this case? Like, this guy is like, how can I give an example as to what his arguments were like? I'm sorry, I know I'm digressing right now. Let's think about acne, for instance, right? Imagine walking up and making an argument that you have prospered to conquer acne on your face and hyperpigmentation through the methods that I've been using. You know, you that benzoyl peroxide with salicylic acid check, and then you are using onion as a toner, like home DIY, you're using aloe vera as a humectant, and then coconut oil. And however, you do still have like 2 or 3 pimples on your face, and you also have some fading hyperpigmentation that is still visible to the naked eye. It's there. However, you have like a before picture where it is that you are seeing these random mammoth bumps on your face, oozing pus and everything, looking like a molten lava volcanic plain. More like you've properly got a before, not only still photo, but also like an audio visual where you're actually fluid and moving, where ubona some hard knock cystic acne on your face. And you also have date stamped it. You have got evidence to prove that you recorded it on that particular day. It's on a cloud. It's all just information that cannot be disputed. It's a fact. It's objectively there in your face. 1 + 1 is equals to 2. There is no arguing against that. And you therefore show, after 3-4 weeks of trying or experimenting with your new regime for skincare, then end up with like just 1 or 2 or 3 pimples with some hyperpigmentation, but that's fading. But there are obvious evidences of the fact that the hyperpigmentation has faded, because you've got before pictures or audiovisual content or footage that displays that you've got like these dark, very hard knock melanocytes called dark spots on your face, and they're faded. You've got evidence, proof that this stuff works. Basically, you have entered into an experiment where a hypothesis has been tried, tested, and therefore proven as a theory, as fact. That's what you have. Like, can't nobody argue against that. It's such an academic freaking anal argument. Anybody trying to rock up and bash it to the ground with some kind of a bat because they think it's a pinata is just irresponsible. That's what you have. And then this individual rocks up and says to you, Madam Lady Chica, who thinks that you went and studied an LLB at Wits University here in Lauderdale. First of all, you didn't finish. And secondly, I'm a lawyer, I'm an advocate, I am literally on the bar of attorneys in South Africa. Okay? Just put that out there. I'm a whole professional. And thirdly, I don't know how to buy shirts that fit, so that just makes me super special. I look like an Oompa Loompa. Who competes with that? Like who? And then like fourthly, I just so happen to be in this environment because I totally get that I'm going to leave here prosperous, like I'm going to win. However, that aside, I see the pimples on your face. You've got 3 or 4 over there on your cheek. And look over there. Like, turn your face. It's dark spots, Karabo. I see them. You have not cleared your acne. No matter, dude, I told you. Yes, I've got 3 or 4 dark spots. Kodwa. They have faded. Here is evidence displaying that I used to have it real bad just 3 weeks ago. And on top of that, I had like 20,000 cystic bumps, and now I only have 3 or 4 random wannabes over here hooking up a little bit of a showing towel. Hadisale that bad. I'm basically like recovered now from the acne condition. I'm obviously somewhere. I'm en route. I haven't arrived. No, well, hey, I see you've got 3 or 4 of those pimples and hyperpigmentation. So basically, without even explaining why the hyperpigmentation has faded or the acne has clearly like left, without dealing with the evidence that shows that I come from somewhere, you just continue to rehash the fact that I've got 3 pimples and so therefore I still have an acne problem. That was what I was dealing with at the CCMA for 2 hours. I was to and from the arguing with one point. What point was that? They claimed that I resigned from MTN, and that is not a lie. I had put in my resignation, but they did not accept it. They kept me on their payroll for months from that date until eventually they sent me a dismissal letter. And so basically, it's called a ratification of a decision. In legal terms, you don't have to necessarily say that this is when we're stopping a particular act. It's like your actions speak louder than words. By simply acting a particular way, you ratify an action. And so therefore, MTN ratified through their deeds the what do you call it? The proclamation by me that they rejected my resignation by continuing to pay my salary, by continuing to basically just linger me on their database as an employee until 5 months later when they just sent me, they didn't even send me a letter of thank you for resigning or a letter of what do you want to do with your pension money going forward. No. They sent me a dismissal letter, notice of dismissal. Literally, it was in a hard copy. I still have it. I have the documents, you guys. They sent me that thing. Do you understand? Go MTN. And then this notice of dismissal, it came at a time when I did not expect it. I was just sitting waiting for the disregard of due process entirely was just like gawking at them. You don't suspend a person from their job and then fire them 5 months later. That is against labor relations laws in this country. You have to immediately enter into some kind of an arbitration case. You have to have a meeting of sorts, like to discuss with this employee, following which they then can make a decision at that meeting or what type thing, or like a disciplinary hearing. Basically, they're supposed to have a procedure of that nature and letting it immediately. But they did so many strange things which I'm not at liberty to communicate right now. In that 5-month period, I literally was sitting at home receiving a salary for 5 months until they eventually sent me a dismissal letter. And I told this random Oompa Loompa from MTN, hore, guy, you claim that I resigned, but on the date of resignation, they rejected my resignation by continuing. First of all, they just kept quiet. They didn't say anything. And they continued to pay my salary month on month thereafter. They ratified the rejection of my resignation by doing that. Meaning this no longer is an argument that stands. And I thought that a person, an advocate, an entire life fucking graduate at law school who is now seated on some board of attorneys or advocates in this country would get where it is that I'm coming from. Instead, he kept on also reiterating the fact that I resigned. The reason why I lost my case at the CCMA was because apparently I quit my job, and you don't get to claim anything when you quit your job. And so when you quit your job, what can't you claim? UIF. When you quit your job, what else can't you claim? You cannot get your at MTN if you resigned from your job. Your shares, you can then like cash them out or do what you want with them, put them in a private setting as opposed to as an employee, right? That is MTN. I had shares that I was given as an employer, and you get more and more of these shares allotted to you the more years or service that you have been at MTN. So I was there for 5 years, okay? And I had shares that were going to make me, at the time the share price at MTN was through the roof, skyrocketing, okay? So I was looking at hundreds of thousands of rands of money over and above my pension money payout. And that money, if however you get fired from MTN because I could say that you stole stationery or whatever, you lose them altogether. So the worst thing you can ever experience as an employee at MTN is being fired. You need to work really hard to make sure that and say goodbye, au revoir. These people claim that I resigned, and so therefore they were supposed to pay out my shares. But so you can understand the duplicitousness of MTN and this Oompa Loompa like Tweedledee guy or Tweedledum, depending on which of the two eggy men that he wants to be, maybe Humpty Dumpty. This Tweedledee and Tweedledum Ogie with a like a hyperly tight shirt properly said that I resigned, and so therefore, given that I lost my case at the CCMA because apparently I had no case at all. First of all, they tried to negotiate and giving me 3 months salary. Are you serious? You owe me like $1 million. First and foremost, at the time they owed me $1 million. Right now, it's several millions. We're not even going to talk. The damages are extensive. Okay, they wanted me to take a 3 month salary, and I'm like, if at all I did truly, genuinely resign, why the heck are you even trying to negotiate giving me 3 months salary? Lakula. First of all, this is gross misconduct, and for a case of gross misconduct, the minimum amount of payout is 12 months salary, and you're trying to give me 3 months. 3 months after you have grossly conducted yourselves in so a fashion as this. So they tried to get me they tried to like talk me down. Hey, because they thought I was some little fluffy girl, a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. I'm wrapped in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair and dress me everywhere. They figured that I look like a little Barbie doll, and so therefore this dumb little chiquita all up in this environment, Lana is CCMA. Type thing, salary. I was like, first of all, minimum 12 months, but given all the other like random horrific afflictions of my person that you've endured me through, all the other trauma I've experienced as a result of your irresponsibility with this was something that I'm not at labor to communicate right now. You owe me about $1 million, like proper. I need to take this to the high court. The CCMA, I am trying to get out of here 24 months payout, first of all, and then I'm still going to go and like file a civil charge at the labor court of this country for that $1 million that you owe me, right? For the damages that you have endured me under. I had a plan to get my 24 months through the CCMA and then go to the high court for a civil matter. This is what it is that I was trying to do. And these people were like, "Hey, salary," and I'm like, talk to me, I don't have an LLB coming from this university that I am going to just sit on this level of decimation. I mean, literally, you went at me, you came at me at the height of my freaking career. I was a project manager for a tiny little amount of years, and then I was promoted very shortly after that into a program manager. I was doing so well. I was like literally just what's about bampara. After corporate like you are out here in these streets on sprints. The way that you are growing so ferociously because you're just so freaking good at what you do, that is where it is that I was at. So therefore, these people stopped something freaking spectacular, like a fireworks display on the 4th of July or something. They stopped something that we all needed to just admire, like gaze upon as it's doing a mellifluous thing. They just stopped it. And so if at all I was going to find myself working for any other organization, I would probably have to apply for a job as a project manager, despite having been promoted to a program manager. Because who in the world is a project manager for a meager 3 years and then is accepted by any interviewer out there to apply for a job as a program manager without having actually done your time in project management, program management? I'd only done a couple of months in program management. So therefore I would have to be demoted to project management. And for me, it was like, I'm sorry, no. This is a career decimating thing. It's loss of income. It's loss of future prospects. And who's to tell the next organization is going to make me wait another 5 years before I can do program management? I understand that I was supposed to do my time at MTN, and so the next job application that I was going to make, if at all I was going to leave the organization, was likely to become a senior manager or something within about 2 years. And you have gone on right ahead and stopped all that. So I am going to take this to a civil court. To a court where I'm fighting a civil case in order to make war with loss of experience and loss of income, alongside a myriad of other things like the trauma that you induced me through, thanks to something that I'm not at liberty to communicate right now. I will maybe one day in the future, when I have got the ability to communicate, that I can share it with you. That's what it is that I experienced. Right. So these were my challenges, these were my qualms, these were my woes, and I had like a whole strategy legally. My whole case was again, yes, I was eventually going to recruit some kind of an attorney and an advocate, but I was going to be the one to, like, I was going to be like the wind beneath the guy's wings or the girl's wings. I was going to tell this lawyer, this is how you're going to fight my case. I had my own strategy, and the only reason I was going to hire an attorney was so that they don't underestimate me, given that I don't have an LLB type thing. Was a lawyer. Literally, I was going to pay the lawyer and to just be the face of my campaign. Like, he was going to do what I wanted him to do, or she was going to do what it is that I wanted. Like, they were going to argue my case in accordance to my strategy. Otherwise, you're fired type establishment thing. But I trusted that a lawyer would get where I'm coming from, plus, use their skills and expertise as well, and see what it is that they might recommend. We can work together like a well-oiled machine, but I don't come here and try and fight my case. I did actually consult a lawyer, some dude in a high-rise building in Santon, who I paid freaking $2,500 an hour, and he like advised me to just like cut my losses. Are you serious? Acting like I'm like on some negative net present value where I must throw money into, where I'm currently throwing money into sunken costs. And I was like, dude, do you not realize just the girth of this case? Like, I'm coming up against like a gargantuan corporate, and you as a company stand to have me as your client, and you as like a person that freaking brought this kind of freaking money into your law firm. You can make partner, for crying out loud, because of my case, and you want me to like drop. I was dealt with, like, people looked at me like I was some little girl that doesn't know what she's doing, and I was like, y'all don't know who you're dealing with. So I was experienced through a similar undermining of my person, go CCMA, where this Oompa Loompa with an over like freaking tight shirt that's about to pop a button on his skin and everything, this Oompa Loompa went on right ahead and continued to triangulate and circle on I resigned. And I'm like, hey, Bato, when was the date of my resignation according to that document over there that you keep on looking at? And it's the only thing in that wad of paper that you are holding in front of me. That's the only document that you're looking at, despite your what that you came here with. What is the date of resignation based on the email that I sent to MTN? Mo, what is it? And this dude gave me the date. I was like, when then was the date of my termination of service from MTN officially? This date. How in the world do you reconcile that gap, dude? No, man, you resigned. I was like, and the guy, what was CCMA, was like, I lost the case. A couple of weeks later, I found out I got a letter in the mail, courier to my joint, my apartment, Golden Hill, and I was like, did I just lose this freaking obviously winnable case? Like, did that literally just happen? That is what happened to me. Now, to help you understand what it is that MTN actually did, right? So I lost the case at the CCMA because apparently I resigned. And the apparent nature of my resignation was based on an email that I sent long ago that they disregarded because they kept on paying my salary. MTN, however, claimed that I resigned. So that was their whole story type thing. That was their argument entirely. It was founded on I resigned. And indeed, if you do resign from an organization, you don't get to claim UIF, first of all. And you also don't get to claim like some kind of a package compensation. You don't get to do any of that. And if you resign, however, because you left nicely, au revoir, bye guys, it's been real, because you left like that, they're supposed to give you your shares. I was supposed to get hundreds of thousands of rands paid out to me in shares. At the time, the share price at MTN was sitting somewhere close to 400 rand per share. Per freaking share, you guys. It was so astronomical, it was so high. It decreased over the years as I looked at it. And that is what it is that I'm also going to be claiming from. I'm like, the date as at the time of my dismissal at MTN. That share price is the one that I am going to demand my shares be paid out at. Whatever the share price of MTN might be at the time that I go to my case and fight it is irrelevant. What's relevant, what was the share price in November of 2014? That 300 and something share price, that's what you're going to pay me out. And all of those, how many shares did I have? I think I said close to 2,000. Y'all need to understand. I lost hundreds of thousands of rands because of the decisions that MTN made. Understand that never mind my pension money, never mind my insurance policies, everything. Just on shares alone, I was supposed to get hundreds of thousands of rands, right? Just on that alone. So basically, if I had quit my job at MTN and I decided to cash out my pension money, I would have left with just under 2 million. Just under 2 million. I only ended up getting about 600,000. And yes, Yonki Pelile. and yazipele on what? Trying to fight a gargantuan corporate that decided that they're going to run me around like a headless chicken until I run out of money in a court. That's why right now I am strategizing to basically get international attention on my story so that I will get sponsored by firms that have a vested interest in justice. And the fact that I'm innocent and I'm also so freaking charming is just going to be a travesty on why they ignore this poor woman. I'm like a defector from North Korea or something, Umuntu that gets heard finally after they escape a terrible country. That is what I'm actually trying to do. So I lost about 1.4 million because of MTN's decision, and that 1.4 million would have been sufficient for me alongside my 600,000 if at all I had resigned from my job. Just to start a business, start from scratch and be okay, maybe buy a property and then use change your corner to start an influencer job. If at all I definitely just wanted to leave and just feel like a corporate career that was thriving, bumpering springs, just hopping like a freaking kangaroo to the top. Hey, macho. If that's what I was actually deciding to do, I would have easily started a new business with my payout. Instead, MTN made a decision that I was fired when it came to my shares. Because that's company policy, that if you get dismissed, you lose your shares. But like, strangely and conveniently, I resigned when it came to UIF and when it came to the CCMA case. In some portions, like Investec was the underwriter for the shares, isn't it, MTN? They have got on record on my shares at Investec that I was dismissed, and so therefore I, what is the word that I'm looking for, forfeited. I forfeited my shares based on dismissal. These are records held at a thriving, going concern organization that is a trustworthy legal personality on its own. So the documentation from Investec share underwriting for MTN says I was dismissed. I'm not the one that said that. I'm not the one that reached the conclusion because of the fact that I what do you call that? Because of the fact that I feel as if this is what must have happened. I told you, my case is beautiful because everything has backing in a very exculpatory sense. There is no denying the facts. Investec, my profile, my account on there, linked to my ID number, says that I had this number of shares. And at this particular date, I forfeited them. And the reason code next to that is dismissal. So I gave this to Mr. Advocate there at the CCMA, and he was like, no, you resigned. But I lost my shares. If I had truly resigned, dude, this was in my appeal actually, because what do you call this? The case, yeah. As at November, when the dismissal happened, I had yet to lose my shares because the reason code was not yet put inside MTN systems, right? So it said that I was resigned there, so I could only raise the share issue after the first case at CCMA when I was trying to appeal. First, the appellant process at CCMA is that first you go to the CCMA to try and appeal with them, and if they still give you a hard time, then you go to the labor court. And if things go real awry in the labor court, which is like a high court in this land, so the CCMA is the tantamount of a small court, then you can go to an appellant court. That you can appeal right there in the high court. If you fail at the high court in the appeal, that's when you have to go to the constitutional court of appeal, the constitutional court of this country, or the Supreme Court of Appeal, depending on where it is that you want to fight your battle. Now, if anybody knows anything about the onerous, laborious bureaucracy of court systems and who it is that gets heard, the higher up you go in the court system, the less likely you're just going to get heard. You don't just rock up there like you do in the magistrate court and be like, Coco, my husband beat me up, arrest him. Or my husband beat me up and make him pay me damages. When it comes to high courts, like the constitutional court of this land, and the Supreme Court, like the highest courts in the land, they're at the same level, the Constitutional Court and the Supreme Court of Appeal. When it comes to those courts, you literally, it's on a case-by-case basis that they decide if all your cases worthy of being listened to. So they table it. If you want to appeal, by all means, you're allowed to. Everybody has a right to due process, but not everybody gets seen. So they can basically just throw out your desire to appeal just from looking at your case on some, no, sorry, you've lost. And if at all you lose at the Constitutional Court or at the Supreme Court of Appeal, unless you have got brand spanking new evidence to provide in this particular case, you are like good as done. You can't come back. You can't come back. I noticed, I saw this when I was appealing at the High Court. I saw this and I was like, if I don't get myself backed up by some heavy powers, the Constitutional Court of this land and the Supreme Court of this land, either or, whichever one I decide to go to, because my case is very constitutional in nature, but they can also be heard at the Supreme Court of Appeal, depending on which one, is available for the day. If I do not find pressure internationally from people that are looking at South Africa and saying, what rubbish is this? Even the Constitutional Court of this land or the Supreme Court of Appeal are going to ignore me, and I'm going to be a disenfranchised woman that's going to lose everything. I will have literally lost everything, and I will have also been entirely innocent because there would have been big, fat, chunky people that would have told themselves that I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world wrapped in plastic. You can do my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your whatever expectation. I would have been looked at as some Barbie girl that didn't even study law, does not have any kind of certification of that nature, and yet she thought she can rock up here and entertain us with her gorgeosity in the courthouse. Mara at most after she pouts her lips, they were going to tell me I don't know the law purely because I did not finish my degree at Wits law in particular. I was like, okay. So these randos are like wreaking havoc in my life because I'm a couple of modules short of an LLB. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. We're going to hang 10, we're going to sit back, and we are going to get ourselves a social clout, an international following. And so therefore, like it happened in the days of apartheid, South Africa is going to be looked at by international eyes wagging their heads on some, how could you be so cruel to this obviously innocent woman? Your own canon says that she is protected. Your own legal body says and yet you are properly condemning her and having destroyed her entire career. Is this what you do? You make people disappear because they don't stand with the narrative. Everybody knows MTN was ridiculously, what do you call this thing? Corrupt, like very, very corrupt. And so they like Vladimir Putin, like just make people disappear if you don't agree with them. And I was like, am I one of those people that have been made to disappear already? Is that my life? Like I was born one day and then I rose and I had dreams and one day somebody decided they're just gonna snuff me out. Me, Karabo, like just this random nobody. I've been snuffed out by a country. Am I just gonna die out through Ganjena? I was like, so through like some kind of a movement that is very globalistic and has everything to do with human rights. I'm gonna get Amnesty International looking at them, the United Nations. You must understand, I'm gonna get anyone at all that I can get to look at my case to look at it. But nobody's gonna look at me unless I show them what it is. Sorry, I'm scratchy. What it is that an organization did to one human being, and the likelihood, therefore, that it has done this, or a conglomerate of such kinds of organizations have done to a bunch of human beings. It's a humanitarian crisis on the ground. There's a disregard of the country's own constitution and rights to make a living. Do you understand? This is something that's happening not to Karabo, just to me. There's no way that MTN was that corrupt in decimating a woman's entire career. I realized that I was sitting on a class action lawsuit, and if I can get enough people to say, Karabo, it happened to me too, I not only will get clout and support through other people who have gone through it, but I will also get more eyes. I will also get more corporates that are happy to sponsor my lawsuit, because who does not want to be associated with a human rights activist? Who does not want to get associated with a person that has redeemed their life from the snare of corruption in the country because they raised concern and they galvanized the people in order to finally uproot something that was just ridiculous and should not carry on anymore. They thought, South Africa, MTN, the corruption in our legal system, our justice system, the corruption in the private and the public sector. So basically, the private sector, our corporates, work together with the private sector such that the CCMA, public sector, can just completely agree to receive a bribe over some stupid no-brainer woman. Like, there's nothing about me to write home about. I'm just some person, and they destroyed just some person's life. I wasn't a person of interest. I wasn't a political figure or somebody that had busted people embezzling funds. I was just some chick with a job, like some negligible like bleep on a radar in a country with freaking 40 million people. I was no one, and they destroyed that. So how many more such individuals are they doing that to? If I can possibly get enough people to raise their fingers up and say, Karabo, me too, literally do a Me Too movement, but this time instead of sexual harassment, it be disenfranchisement and uprooting of entire careers. Dudes, I have got me a class action lawsuit, and that is the kind of stuff that you prosper to table at Supreme Courts of Appeal of countries. So what I'm doing is raising that class action from the ground. Whether or not I've got a law degree, I don't care. You can call me Olivia Pope if you wanna. What you need to understand is that Keziaga is gargantuan. And precisely because it's as big as it is, people are giving me the silent treatment, acting as if there's nothing to write home about Ghana. And I'm like, and on top of that, I was working my life thinking, you don't get to disregard and dismember a person like that. So MTN then, just backtracking a little bit here, just to like conclude this whole thing, I'm sorry, I can be very loquacious. MTN made a decision that I am dismissed when it comes to my shares. So I lost my shares. But guess what else these random freaking sadists did to some bleep on the radar of a country with 40 million people? They also made sure that I cannot claim UIF by saying that I resigned. So there are two decisions at MTN as to what happened to me. I both resigned according to MTN as well as got dismissed. Because in order for me to not get my shares, I had to be dismissed. But in order for me to not get a payout, UIF, I had to be resigned. After losing my job, and because they took forever and a day to pay out my pension money, I went to the unemployment insurance fund since they said that I was dismissed. And the UIF came back to me and said, ma'am, sorry, we can't give you a UIF payout because you resigned from your job. I was like, I stood there, I couldn't explain. Run back. That's where UIF, the headquarters or whatever I had. The woman that was helping me behind that glass window just looked at me and said, ma'am, hello, you resigned, so you don't qualify. I stood there, papnat. Yes, like it. Flattened. Do you understand? I could not believe, because what was going on in my mind, this person thought I was crazy just standing there irresponsibly, like blocking the queue behind me. But what he didn't understand was going on in my mind was, but I didn't even get my shares. And they told me that I was dismissed at Investec, and now I can't even get money to keep myself fed. In the apartment that I'm living in, Gabanda, do you understand? I don't even have that UIF payout that is going to pay me for 12 months, because depending on how long you work for an organization, you get UIF payout, and I had worked long enough for MTN to get at least that payout for 12 months. It was going to keep me, with petrol, servicing my car for 12 months. Yo, guys. I earned a good enough salary to have a decent amount of money paid out by UIF per month, only a percentage of my salary, but it was good enough to keep me with my apartment. And I could still continue to pay rent with it, and I could also buy food. Yo, guys, I lost my apartment as a result. Yes, like literally, my story is horrific. All these things have been recorded, and I could not, for the life of me, understand what just happened. Eventually, I was like to the guy who go UIF, why do you say I resigned? Is this something you're assuming? And he was like, no, that's what your company like what we do is we just send a form through to corporates, and they come back with a response, and your response has code number this on it, and that code means resignation. So basically the systems as they got MTN recorded automatically a resignation. So if at all you were to go inside MTN's archives of employees of the past, I would probably pop up there as resigned. Because the UIF, this was something that was automated. It was not like, it's not like they were calling MTN. Don't know what happened. It was an automated system that communicated with UIF. A central system of that nature where corporates communicate with UIF. So the data input inside MTN's HR systems is that I have resigned. That's the data that is go MTN. So what happened then? Literally, imagine this. The HR lady at MTN did this. Like, it was so gratuitous. It was so intentional. She literally picked up the phone and said to Investec she was dismissed. If at all Investec was fed this information also automatically by means of what do you call this? Some kind of a software like communication in the background. Investec would have automatically just put me up as resigned, and so, you know, told me, what do you want to do with your shares, ma'am? Do you want to cash them out? Do you want to invest them further elsewhere? That's what Investec would have done. But Investec must have been, literally, a phone had to have been picked up, and they told them, please disregard what you are getting fed by our internal systems. That person has been resigned. It's just a glitch in our own systems, but that person has been dismissed. So it's just a glitch in our systems. Disregard the code there that says that she has been resigned and replace it with dismissed. It was intentional manipulation so that I don't get my pension money, and not pension, sorry, but my money, the shares, and also so I don't get UIF. They literally tried to do what it is that they're doing to Putin right now, cripple him on sanctions, literally bleed him out with money so he can't continue with the war. But the healthy, wholesome version as opposed to the nefarious version, because I was threatening them with all of these lawsuits, I told them, I literally made my intentions known to them, that I'm suing the crap out of you. And so what then they did was decide to cripple me financially, so I can't sue, because my case was that strong. That is what it is that I'm facing. That's what people are holding me hostage for. That is what South Africa is holding me hostage for. That is what the corruption in this land has held me hostage for. I'm sitting on that level of just undeniably telling or damning evidence on the part of my persecutors, and yet I am facing death, basically, because I live in a country that is so corrupt from the bottom of its toenails to the top of its hair follicles that angizoba right unless ngiyaphuma apha. But first I will galvanize people from another land. So that's why I'm trying to build a social media following. I tried to do that. I wanted to first get my life back together again, and then from a different place where I'm staying do that. But I haven't even been able to get out of here. So now I have made a decision that I'm just going to do what I need to do. So speaking about the white noise that I highlighted earlier, how it is that sometimes when there's a bash going on downstairs from your apartment building, you somehow, somewhere along the way, prosper to just get the white noise in the background as part and parcel of what you're doing, so it no longer distracts you. You can continue to study. I had to deal with the white noise at the CCMA. I had to make that black noise into white noise. Like those buses, you will hear them in the recording. It's so bad. But that's just a product of a country that has such a bad legal system that they can't even account, recruit psychologists, ergonomists, industrial planners in order to build courts, in order to build places of arbitration. They have to be quiet rooms. It can't be loud and with like babies crying on the outside and buses hooting. Like, it's just open windows and it's so loud that you can't concentrate. And I being the kind of person that needs a quiet room just to get my admin done, I had to make the buses like Gandhi Square white noise during my arbitration, where Mr. Oompa Loompa, was literally looking at one tiny little document amidst a wad of apparent evidence. So basically it was a scare tactic, fear mongering, where you bring this like wad of evidence against me. Chill. Blom, little random. This representative Ega MTN, boss was there, my former boss, Rupesh, Megakona, and he could not even look me in the eye. He couldn't look me in the eye. The way they were literally just destroying my future right there. Every time I would talk, you could tell even emotional. He was so guilty that he could not even look me in the eye. But Mr. Oompa Loompa, oh my goodness, no, he was just here. Here, on one point, circling around it, 2 hours kaufela. My boss even left in the middle. My former boss was amazing. Like, he was there in to give his particular side, his witness testimony on his end. And then after like 40 minutes, and I was just to and from playing ping pong with this like corrupt advocate of the CCMA alongside this Oompa Loompa from MTN. I left there feeling kind of confident that if at all a person or fair or is going to be looking at all of this information to make a decision that I stand a chance, despite being made to run around in circles around one particular thing, my resignation, with this like oompa loompa from MTN. I was confident until I was sitting at home and I received my the letter in the mail. You know, the courier dude delivered it as to what happened with CCMA, and I was like, I lost. Are you serious? I immediately went the very next day to appeal. Hi, Crankhead One Ball. I like Papa. It's what you do. It's what you do these days. Hey, just come in. Ooh. I went and I appealed. It's like straight away, like the very next day. All of these things are recorded on camera, right? I didn't have internet at the time, so in order to get information, I would go to Wits University and use the computer labs there to get data information. That's why I was doing my research, etc. I still had my access card at the time, was still operational in Seveta, so I could go into whichever archives of the school that I wanted to go to get information, right? Anyway, whatever, I then fashioned for myself a nice little appeal pack for to the CCMA, or low appeal for CCMA. And believe it or not, the guy who was about to hear my particular appeal at the CCMA, he was at the window. He had enough know-how to gauge factors, and he then, as he was like putting in my details inside the system, he looked at me, like literally he looked at my details, and he looked at me and he was like, you lost your case. And I was like, yeah, I lost it. He was like, how in the world did you lose your case? They're saying here that you resigned, but you have given me a letter of dismissal. I was like, yeah. He's like, yo, long story short, go to there's a person here at the CCMA that's been paid off, and this guy at the CCMA, because of what he noticed was then gave me advice to go to the legal aid board to lodge my case, because I'm going to need a lawyer due to the fact that in order to try and uproot and bring a corruption forward against an employee at the CCMA, you can't just do that on your own if in and of yourself you're not an attorney. So this guy then gave me the number of the legal aid board and the address, and he told me that if you don't have a salary, if you don't have money to afford your own lawyer, since you've lost your job and whatnot, you can go to the legal aid board. It is the South African tantamount of pro bono legal services provision for the general population that pass a means test. In other words, they pass a test that displays that they don't have enough money to afford an attorney type thing. So you can go and get yourself a relatively decent lawyer from that works pro bono from a decent firm if you go to the legal aid board. I was like, thanks for the advice, and I did. I went to the legal aid board, but this guy also told me that your case is going to be filed with the labor court, and we'll send you documentation as to when you have to you can come in then for another arbitration. I did go to the legal aid board yet again, South Africa, the corruptness of this land. I filed my case there, and the woman who lodged it, as she was lodging it, looked at me on some, okay, CCC's up for men, I get it. Did I get a call? No. Instead, I called. I called. What do you want to do? Like, I'm really busy. I called after like 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, because I didn't know how long it took in order to, hey man, go. Because I didn't know how long it took for them to eventually assign an attorney to your case. But based on that, on the people, like when I was queuing there, because government facilities, you will queue snake-like queues in Gati, you're waiting for your judgment on judgment day, the way there are so many people ahead of you in the human race. Anyway, so I kept on overhearing people that had like filed divorces and all different random kinds of things there, and the one woman spoke about how it is that she got a call back after just 3 days. So I was like, maybe it's because her case is just a divorce and it's quick and they're just separating her and her husband, and mine involves a lot more detail, so that's why it's taken weeks. But I called, and when I was on the phone, the lady then said to me, Cece, no, first of all, I called her. This is my situation. I gave it to her, and she was still on the phone. I could hear her chatter in the background, and like you could tell that she was also typing something into the computer as she was searching for my case. And there was a change of tone in her after when she came back to me. She was like, it's almost as though she mistakenly let me know that through her gesturing or her mannerisms or the sound that came out of her mouth over the phone, mo computer screening se ena a se bonang mara se a sa kgoneng go ntjwetsa ka sona. She literally was like, yeah, okay, no, okay, shut up, Cece, okay. Cece, literally she did something. I could overhear that there was something that paused in her as soon as my screen popped up for my details, my documents. And when that happened, because these people deal likely with so much other admin, she probably didn't even want to explain to me that they don't want to take my case. It's too much. It's too heavy. Like lawyers don't want to, like public defenders, people that like work pro bono for free, basically, on behalf of the state on certain cases, so they can meet their hours, whatever, of social responsibility. They just were like, I'm not about to not get paid for this case. I'm not about to not earn a fee for that. I'm not gonna fight into mina, for Mahala. This is a massive case. She can dream on if she thinks that a pro bono lawyer is going to work for her on this case. She looked at my screen and was like, Sisi, she was stuttering. She was like, busy, busy kakhulu. Maybe bazofonela after iveke bazofonela. But based on the tone in her voice, I was like, nobody's getting back to me. I'm pretty sure of it. I could tell from her tone that she saw something on the screen that made her tell me something just to get me to go away. She didn't want to have to be the one to be the bearer of bad news. And so I realized at that stage that there's nothing that's coming my way, and lo and behold, truth be told, a couple of weeks down the line, I still had not gotten a call from the Legal Aid Board. So it turns out that South Africa's provision of legal services to the lowly, those who can't afford law, legal services, is similar to the South African provision of police services. Really, they're just there to kind of certify your documents and and sign affidavits, but I mean, record a rape and actually have the matter investigated, dream on. So the provision of services for civil society that cannot afford anything is here at zero by the country. So South Africa is like a kleptocracy more than it is anything. It's a kleptocracy. It's just this like random thieving environment where the government rather just steals from the people as opposed to do anything at all for them. So that's when I then realized that, you know what, upon them gathering all of my information, I was like, I'm not going to win this case unless I get myself sponsored by a corporate that is not going to be made to run around like a headless chicken in court for years, by a company that's trying to literally drain an individual civilian on the ground of money to finish their case. So if I can get a corporate to sponsor me, a corporate has no end of money really that they can pour into a case. And so the strategy by organizations when individual people come against them to make them run around in court for years is not going to be a feasible one if at all they're being fought by another corporate on behalf of a people. Of a person. The only way corporates are going to agree to sponsor me is if they will be associated with the grandiosity of what my case means, meaning that first of all I have to make it a class action, and secondly I have got to be so freaking innocent and fighting for such haughty human matters that corporates, especially that compete with MTN, would be happy to stand behind me in order to literally uproot an organization that is their competition. I realized that if I'm going to get companies that are either competitors of MTN or have a bone to pick with MTN, the only way that they will sponsor my lawsuit is if at all I am a force to be reckoned with, and that's what I'm working on right now. Anyway, that is literally an abbreviated version, even though I've been speaking for an hour 30 minutes, of what in the world happened to me. For those of you who perhaps think that I'm one of those people that are claiming to be innocent despite being guilty, you know how everybody in prison is apparently guilty. And when you go to prison as an innocent person, all of the inmates, when you say to them I'm innocent, are like, yeah, right? That's what it is that I anticipate people likely would receive me as at first. So I just wanted to give you a brief understanding of the fact that I'm not one of those people in prison who are like just disregarded for saying they're innocent, because yeah, everybody here is innocent. I am innocent, and I have damning evidence to that effect. And I am not going to drop the ball on a lawsuit that, by the way, initially started out as a meager little 1 million, and then it grew after a couple of months to 5 million. Now I'm looking at like double-digit type millions, the way the damages have been piling up for years. So I might be poverty-stricken like no man's business, but I am actually sitting on a gold mine. Gold is really quite meager in comparison to what it is that I represent at this point. I am just a freaking bank sitting. That's what I am. So that's why people have been happy that I should just die a suicide death. Because those that have participated in the mutiny against my life stand to lose everything they know, have, and even breathe on a daily basis because of my case. I offered amnesty. I gave them so many olive branches to do better by me. At some point, I even was negotiating with MTN to just say sorry, admit what they've done wrong, and compensate me. And I will quietly disappear. And they refuse to take that amnesty. And now I'm out for freaking blood. That said, however, how in the world am I going to get myself there? I gotta rise up out of this heap of rubble, and so therefore I taught myself how to do things like hair, so that can make me a small little amount of income, perhaps even bigger and bigger, climbing, so I can move somewhere, tell my story, gain for myself clout. Everything that I'm doing is for my lawsuit. Like, that's what you need to understand. The be all and end all, it's not just my lawsuit, but the lawsuit of those disenfranchised in this country by what it is that happened to me. People who can relate to my struggle. I have got to get to a point where I have galvanized for myself a supporting or a following of that nature. So I do things like hair. I try to be a regular old influencer on Instagram that can do a crochet hairstyle. That is what that is that I'm doing, because we all know that social media can make you ridiculous amounts of money with you just, I don't know, smiling very well, and people can pay you a lot for that. I'm going to rise up out of the ashes, move to some other country, tell my story from there, and after a couple of years of fighting and screaming and throwing my toys out the cot and pulling out my hair, maybe getting married and having children, I will then come back and I will sue the crap out of MTN, and I will also handle the South African freaking political infrastructure. That is what I'm going to do. So that having been spoken, you guys, I hope you've been edified by that lengthy conversation. I want to show you the beginning stages of installing my crochet hair. I have done 2 packets and I went and squeezed them in here. This has been chilling done already for about 2 days now, and I'm ready now to put it in my hair because it's not so tight anymore. So every time, basically that whole backstory, you need to understand that it is everything I do else is it's like fuel to the fire of that backstory. It is an attempt or an effort to get eventually my justice and justice for many other people in the land, and also to show that Jesus Christ is Lord and the battle is his, and he has enabled a woman to fight over a very long amount of time an injustice on the ground that has broken people's hearts. And since he is the healer of the brokenhearted and he binds up the wounds of those that have been afflicted, he has seen it fit to raise up a woman that is too freaking intelligent to just be brushed off as a Barbie girl in a Barbie world wrapped in plastic. You can like comb her hair, undress her everywhere, imagination, life is your expectation. You wrote me off as a body doll. The Lord, it is written in his word, that he takes the weak things of the world to shame the strong, and the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. So he grabbed the person that is underestimatable on the surface, caused an entire world of buffoons to derail her, literally underestimate her because she wasn't even able to finish doing her degree. So constitute in your minds that she's not even smart enough to fight you, and then come against the people with freaking PhDs and slaughter them. On behalf of the brokenhearted, the lowly. That is how the Lord binds up wounds. He raises up a person, and then right. You're going to be cool. I haven't forgotten you. Also, Mandla does not forget abantu abaphethwe indlala. God does not forget people who have been disenfranchised. Years might appear to be progressing with him doing nothing, but at the back end, there often tends to be a little bit of a somebody that he has raised up to bring justice to the many, like he did in the story of Joseph. Know and understand that I am on a big fat chunky mission. So anybody's ideals at this present moment to try and get me to I feel like some random guy fluffy my finger. My question is, what is the girth of this man that you're trying to bring in my life? What is his depth? What are his convictions? What are his desires? Like, does he have the heart that God has given me for justice and also for the human race? Does he have any interest at all in freeing people in North Korea from the tyranny of Kim Jong-un? Does he at all have any interest in doing mission work, reaching people for Christ in parts of the world that have not been evangelized yet? Do they have that? Because I've got that kind of heart. So I have because that's how I'm going to get bread in my body. What in the world am I going to do with a fluff nugget, a fluffy ball of a guy that cannot even think once a day about a child working in a labor camp in North Korea? Like, that's who I am. That's what God has made out of me. He has given me a burden for the disenfranchised in the world at large, never mind just in my country. And people are trying to bring some fluff ball master guy in my life. Don't care. And frankly, he's not going to get where I'm coming from. And he might just turn into Ike Turner, because that's what happens when you marry a woman ali lowly, as not much, and then she turns out to be bigger and brighter and better than you. I don't want to be married off. If at all I have a husband to meet, he's going to be like me. He's going to be a missionary. He's going to be doing God's work. Do you understand? He's going to be an individual that's not afraid to get his feet dirty. He's not going to be tied up in some suit in corporate. His shoes are probably going to be some Nike sneakers or some Adidas sneakers that are old and worn out because he's constantly walking up and down South Sudan trying to free people from civil war. Like, that is my husband. So if you're sitting as a soup somewhere in corporate, what I'm asking you to do is repent, give your life to the Lord Jesus Christ. Stand behind me. Literally be like a person that signs a petition. But do not try to marry me, because you are going to be brutally rebuffed when you try to talk to a woman, shorty, what your name is, that's got these big, fat, chunky ideas in her head. I'm not against you if you are not quite at that level yet, but understand that years of persecution will make a person a little bit of a revolutionary, and I am a revolutionary, so I can't be with a regular guy. I can't. And I'm also not in a rush to get married. So while many women might sprint down the aisle, I frankly am even in slow motion. I'm not even trying to get there fast enough because I am busy. And on top of that, nobody's going to marry me in squalor. My skin is too bad for me to be getting married right now. So too is my hair not long enough. I'm not where I need to be. And if it means I must be 45 before I get married, then by all means, I don't care. But what I need is a population galvanized to recognize that this is a cause worth fighting for. And whatever envies, whatever jealousies, whatever insanities, and whatever incendiary ideals that people might have trying to burn a sister to the crisp, abandon them for your soul, really. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul? Get over yourselves. South Africa, you're on the brink of losing the biggest and baddest person in the game. You can't afford to freaking lose me. Your president can't afford to disregard me. Literally, no one can ignore me. I am chosen in the worst way, whether or not you like it. And while I understand that a prophet has no honor in his own hometown, what you must get is that you need to get over that if at all you are going to be covered by my lawsuit, because it's going to compensate many South Africans. Many. So get over yourselves and stand with me. If you don't want to, my goodness, I told you, I'm grabbing a remnant. And if all that remnant will come with me, then it proves that the Bible is true. Narrow is the road that leads to life, and few there be that find it, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter into it. You're just South Africa, one tiny little country at the very bottom of the most disregarded continent on the planet. I don't need you. I am continental. I am worldly. I am ethereal. I am spread out. I am the kind of person that does not stay in one geographical location. So what you did is free the beast that was inside me by persecuting the living daylights out of me. But I'm happy to grant amnesty to anybody that will love it. I'm happy to forgive anyone that will love that forgiveness. I also am not out for a very messy end to this. I would love for diplomacy to first conquer, to win. I am absolutely a person with whom people can negotiate. Mara, you are fast converting me into a person that is not even trying to hear what you have to say. Be careful. Even the Lord closes doors of grace at some point. So I am not expected to perpetually just sit and endure and suffer you all. I literally don't have to. So if I'm doing it, understand it's only because you're still under grace. Take it. That said, I want to show you the beginning stages of installing my hair, and then I will continue to show you as I move along, and then you'll see the final result. For now, let's take this out. This hair is already unbundled, it's undone, unbunched, so that's what it looks like. I am tempted to unravel it further, when it's new, in Jenna. Like, here's a piece now. Where's my crochet hook? Cheap little thing here, but it's a miracle worker like Carabo. Hey, like Jesus, what? Boom. Okay, what I want to do, I get how coiled and tangled this is now. It's very rigid looking, kind of like Terminator, I'll be back. It's kind of robotic, looking like, you know, Elon Musk's Tesla bot. So I want to make it look more like natural. So I don't know how to get that right. And I'm thinking, where's that rat tail comb that I had just now? How's my lips looking? Are they still shining? Sister can't be having no like matte, random, like, looks like when I hungry look. Indefinitely. Give it a tail comb. Wait, see, this little tiny environment, young Kenya, like young Bora, as in, like, what? Can we yawn just fast enough yet? So last time my dad put them in Jeffel like this, right? And I was like, oh no, you're so boring looking. So I wanted to see what it's gonna look like if I just, like, drove a comb through it. Will it come looser? Yes, it will. Just drive a comb through it to make it less, just kind of boring looking. To make it a little bit more, literally, frizzy. And I think it's good. I like it. It works. Yay. And this idea I got, by the way, when I was in the bathroom peeing. That is the Holy Spirit's enablement. Like, he just rocks up, okay? He knows that I didn't like. God knows that I did not like them just as... Okay, let me just grab one here. Look at the difference between these two. I don't like it when it's just looking like that. So I was like, what would happen if I just drove a comb through it? Is it going to be less, like, weird looking, kind of strange? That was an idea that slipped into my mind while I was in the bathroom. And so in general, then it looks like hair. It looks like your actual hair. So that's a strategy that I'm going to use. I used 2 of these soft dread packs, you guys. Mara, if mopeli, because I did more cornrows this time around. If it doesn't fit, I'll just grab half of another packet. Then I'll have 2.5 in total, but I don't think that'll be necessary. Okay, I'm gonna start at the back so you guys can see the miraculous process. I'm just gonna install the first like 2 or 3, and then once I'm halfway up, I'll show you. And then when I start to install them here, then I'll show you. This thing intensive on like right now, 18:33 at night, so just after 6:30. I told you this thing takes like 40 minutes tops, like literally. So I'll let you know what the time is when I'm done. How do I prove that it's 18:33? Let me turn the camera around. That is my Mac that you're looking at over there. I don't know. Yeah, it's 18:34. 18:34. I really hope you're looking. Yeah. So I can Mara, in all fairness as well, let's just keep things fair. I'm first going to be showing you the process, and that's going to take some time on its own, right? So let's just like be fair. I changed my Mac. I like moved my phone, and now I've got like all these issues. Let me face what I'm doing. Am I in the frame? You can see that they've gotten a little bit old in comparison to last time, right? So this here is the crochet hook. Looks like that. Everything is so bright. Yes, like it. Why is it so bright? Is that better? Is it improving? Yo, whatever. Not whatever. I don't want it to be so bright that there's too much of a glare for you to see. Let me move closer. What you do is take the crochet hook with your fingers feeling your way around at the very big like beginning of the corner. Put the crochet hook in, hops out on the other side like that. Grab your hair like that. Slip it into the hook. This crochet hook, guys, I think it cost me 15 bucks. It's so cheap, and for its price and what it does for your life, it's like wow. Total investment. So I made a decision that I'm going to do it half and half, right? Now, some people leave it like this. And at the back, frankly, you could. The nice thing about a crochet style is that you can put your hair up in a bun and it's not even going to show that it's a fake hair. But with this hair, because it is so like resilient, I go in with 2 knots. Like this is the first one, and then 2. Take down is relatively easy in that you just cut it all the way to where the knots start, and then you just unravel the 2 knots, or whatever it is that is a sharpish object, a rat tail comb, and you're home safe. So take down is easy. That's why I love crochet hairstyles. Unlike miriri that gets installed. What do you call this? And remember the other day I said that if you want it longer, you can then like start it like that. Well, with me, I've made a decision that I'm cool with this length, right? What was I gonna say? So there's the second one. The step, you don't have to do it if you don't wanna. Because it's just gonna loosen the hair a little bit, or it's gonna as rigid. And then in terms of the spacing, it really depends on how thick you want it to be. I lost my my chain of thought. I've got this one. you can either use a finger space or half a finger or 2 fingers, depending on the girth, so that you want, or on how bushy you want it to be. So now I'm just going to use a finger in between, an index finger in between each one, because that's what I did last time, and I think it's just, for me, a rule of thumb when it comes to crochet hair. Based on my head shape, it works best. It becomes most uniform. See how quick this is, guys? It is so quick. It is so quick, and you get finished in just under an hour, no matter how big your head is or no matter how many your cornrows might be. Look at that. So you can imagine what that's going to look like. And then you just keep on going all the way around. This one, I tried to put it into, it won't go in, but it's fine. You can just tuck it into the cornrow or just leave it like hanging as a flyaway, because I don't want to color once all of your braids are in. So let's just install one more, and then we will watch something on either YouTube or Netflix. It depends on how I'm feeling. I'm not a fan of Netflix when I'm feeling like trash. I just want to see world events, because they're more representative of what I'm going through than YouTube ever can. Not YouTube, sorry, what do you call this? Than world events ever can be. So today I'm feeling a little bit better, Nyana. So for those reasons, I might just start watching that show. And you know, the way I am so pro South Africa, when I do the show, like whatever's trending in SA, I tend to like try and check it out first on Netflix. But one of the South Africans but busy watching everything, because I'm a South African, but literally South Africa's trying to kick me out. And I'm like, Nzinja, Vugani from Makonda way man, Nibody Lamboni, I'm going to put anybody in Zinja. So man, so my Sanding. My little bit, your snooze button and everything actually in these streets. And I'm like, hey, can people be more like ridiculous? And another thing about this hair, if you are not the best of what do you call this? If you're not the best cornrower, this will help you anchor your cornrows, because it kind of like covers them, it conceals them. So yeah, you might want to like do this method. And then I'm just like, yo guys, what? Okay, I'm just gonna keep going like that all the way up, and so on. So let us finish this off camera. No, not off camera. I'll probably like do a speed edited version. I actually kind of need to pee right now, so I'll go use the bathroom first, and then what have you. Do you see what I mean by the yay? Like by the combing, like the combing it out like that. It creates double fluff bona, which in the overall head is then just going to have like a very natural look, as opposed to this very like stagnated, dogmatized, like funny little dreadlock thing looking. I mean, just look at the difference of the texture between this side and this side. This is just too uniform. It's just obvious you've got fake hair. Mara, this looks more natural. Do you understand? So that's what driving a comb through it does. Mara, when you drive a comb through it, you have to like fasten your hand, because it can get tangled. 1 of 3 times really, it doesn't have to be too many, and it'll get that done nice and well. I love this hair because of how long it lasts home and how neat it stays, but I also love it because it's so cheap. In the future, however, I think I'll start loving different kinds of hair, because I'll have money. But for now, you gotta love what you have, otherwise discontentment. Middle name. So it looks like that. And I don't like forgetting. I think people call me crazy. Early onset dementia. Like literally people have been trying to accuse my brain of all different kinds of like misdemeanors, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's that? Get to shop stage 2. Emma, bloma. Like my badile disappeared, dog. That's one Kenya Lana accusation. Anyway, look, if you want a tutorial on that's up close, like really up close and personal, on how to like slip in a crochet hook and how to do knots and whatnot, you're gonna have to go on the internet. There's this one girl, I forgot her name. I actually wanted to do you justice. That chick, she's actually the look. I've been trained by quite a few people. This chick shows you so close up that you see even what the crochet hook is doing. Whereas with me, I can't get close enough. You know, I don't have access to those resources, type establishment thing, like camera resources that'll help you like really just kind of like zoom in and what have you. For your edification, let me just go inside YouTube and find this chick. I keep forgetting their names. I mean, there was a time when I was like, just her name was just like rolling out of my tongue easily. If I just say crochet style tutorial, she will be among the first to pop up. Like, first to pop up. There she is. Brianna Rutter. She taught me how to soft dread. Another one is, yes, I love her too, Sian Okimi. She's also another one that trained me how to do this. So I go through a lot of these YouTube cheekitas, but there are others. There are some that just stick out like a sore thumb to me, and I have subscribed to them, and they've taught me how to do hair, and I'm grateful. Type establishment thing. So I would recommend you go to a woman by the name of Brianna Rutter. Her name is spelled Breanna, and then Rutter, Rutter, and then Sian Okimi is Sian as in boy, Afrikaans word for boy, Seun, Okimi, Okimi. She will teach you how to do the biggest and baddest crochet hairstyles in the game, and she will teach you the biggest and baddest braiding patterns in the game, and you will then find yourself all super edified. I gained my instruction from them, and so therefore they come highly recommended, highly for you guys. Cool. Let me go pee, come back, and we'll probably do a time lapse for the rest of this hair. But I kid you not, guys, it takes 40 minutes, less than that. It's currently 18:45, so when I come back from the bathroom, maybe it'll be like 18:49. And from that time, I promise you, before 8 p.m. hits, I'm gonna be done. That's the beauty of crochet hair. Total beauty. Signing out briefly in the name of Christ, cranky bye. Hi there, I just wanted to let you know that it is 18:51 as at present, so we're gonna do a time calculation as to how long this is going to take. Let me show you, camera. Sorry, the time on my Mac, 18:51, see that? Yeah. So I just wanted to deceive anybody, because honesty is the best policy, you know what I mean? Okay, a 1, 2, 3, go! Bah!
Overrated, you should know. Suffocated in my arms, my eyes are taken. You should know. Well, I'm mistaken, it was my fault. Lately I've been drinking on my own, just looking at my phone. Lately I've been feeling insecure about the way in which you feel whenever I'm alone with you. My love, we made it, we should know. Our minds been jaded, no, not at all. I always thought you know. Should have known, I should have known better. Let's keep things steady. Lately I've been drinking on my own, just sitting at my phone. Lately I've been feeling insecure about the way in which you feel whenever I'm alone with you. I guess I owe it all to you. Maybe we always fucking you. I owe it all to you. Yes, I owe it all to you.
Hi, I've been at this for 2 hours. I underestimated how long this would take. It's because last time it took 45 minutes. Maybe it's because last time I had less tracks on my hair, and last time I did not have to pick at my hair first to make it a little bit fluffier to do this. So literally I've added an extra hour, and I'm not even done with the head. I'm so upset. It's 20:52 right now. So yeah. Whoops, I guess I lied. I said I didn't lie. Last time it didn't take this long. This hair is, I don't know, it's unlikely going to fit the rest of my head. So I am going to have to unravel one more pack. So, or half a pack. I don't know how many of them I'm going to need. But I'll finish this first before I go into the next pack. I just wanted to show you the front. Like all the rows at the back, I did them. And I'm so proud of the result, because I wanted body gomorago. Last time it was super flat at the back and it looked kind of like odd. So when it gave the other side, I just looked really kind of measly. And this time around I've got the body that I want. And I had more or less about this girth, this amount of hair all over the head, as opposed to just at the back. So impressive. Last time I used only 2 packets. This time I'm probably going to use 2.5 to 3. But this is the result. Look at how poofy and fluffy it's looking. It's beautiful. Usually if you just leave it like this, it does not have this poofy look. I'm loving the poofiness that it has this time. So let's just get straight into it without further ado. Should I face the back so you could see the body? Without further ado, when I'm done, I'll show you just how much it looks like your own hair. You can do like a high bun and whatnot, like it's growing out of your scalp. Basically, it does not look like, you know how when you've got tracks like this, sometimes what's a high bun due to the fact that it's like you've got like a sewing track. Well, this helps you have a natural hair situation. Cat, please do what you need to do as a cat. Do not interrupt me. What do you want to do? Ish, Izzy. Yeah, okay, go. You're a bother, like a big fat bother. Go. Now, Crank Cat, I'm not here to wait for you to do what you need to do. I'm not at the beck and call of you, animal. Anyway. Righto, so that's what it looks like. And in terms of the cascading look, I have it already. Remember I told you guys that I wanted a cascading look? Like, in other words, it must not all be like level at the same height. I believe I already got that down. So, and it's pretty firm. I would yank it, like pull at it if my scalp was not still kind of tender from the cornrows, but we're not going to do that. However, over time, you're going to realize that this thing is like anchored type thing. Yeah, so let's look at this. I love the fluffiness. I love the fluffy at the bottom. It's my own hair, you guys. I just love it. Last time I did not do it that way, so it looked really tacky, but this is something I can sport for 2 months without feeling like, some kind of way. Refresh it with Hard Knock conditioner every 3 weeks, and it should be kept looking kind of bouncy. What is my conditioner? Regular cheap conditioner here organics from Dischem. But then I add egg to it. I add oil, olive oil to it. The oil combination that I bought from Dischem alongside mayonnaise, and I just let that chill for like 30 minutes in my hair, rinse it out, and it's looking and feeling pashage for both your own hair and wigs, weaves, stuff like that. Works really well. So if you don't have money for leave-in conditioner, never mind leave-in, sorry, but a very Hard Knock deep conditioner, that's how you make a deep conditioner at home on zero budget. Mayonnaise, mahura, le mahura I go pantrying, like sunflower oil, which currently is getting a little bit expensive because of what's happening in Ukraine. Anyway, whatever, sunflower oil, like mahura, like canola oil, you know how like those fats, those oils are really bad if you consume them because of the refining process to get them to be extracted from the plant. Well, for hair, they're a gem. You can just use whatever oil you have in the pantry. I'm actually trying to help women on a budget. And then next thing, batoledi blesser that are going to, like, I don't know, wreak havoc in their general dignity. Moving on right ahead. So yeah, this is like a cheap way of just doing life yourself. This cost me in total $60 for hair, and that's it. Crochet hook 15 rands, but that lost a whole bunch of time, so it doesn't count in this whole thing. 60 randa for some pretty excellently done hair. And yeah, it's taking me a couple of hours this time around, and I don't know how I feel about that. I think it helps to just like do a whole bunch of them at the same time and then just install. But I'm just gonna do like 4 to 5 now and show you just how quick it would be, like if you were to prepare the hair, all of it like this in advance instead of having to drive your comb into it, just how quick installation for this thing is. This is what has taken up 2 hours. Like I'm literally out of my mind annoyed with that. But yeah, I'm feeling grateful. So the situation in Ishkazazi, I'm so frustrated. Like in light of my cat, like don't get me wrong, I dig the cat. It was a stray, by the way, a rescue animal that I rescued and got this woman to help out, like in terms of its food and what have you, because I was bored, I was lonely, so I got a pet. Mara, I thought I was going to be out of here in like 5 seconds, because I've been planning to get out of here in like 5 seconds, but I haven't. And a cat cannot sleep outside, it cannot live outside, so I'm basically living with an animal, and it's always like all up on my sheets and what have you. I wanted an indoor cat. Like I'm a cat lady, like through and through. I'm not a dog lady at all. I've always planned on getting, actually I'm a dog lady too, but I also like cats, but the thing with cats is my intention with owning cats in my life has always been, or a cat, just one cat, it would have always been an indoor cat, like a cat that was in the house and never got out. That's how you save a cat's life, or that's how you preserve its life for long. Cats that don't go outside live longer. Not only that, they're cleaner, of course, and they can like get on your linen, they can get on your couches and whatnot, and all you have to worry about is cat fur, but not actually dust, like Ditsila from Kamonte. Cats have this thing that they do where they dust bathe. In other words, they basically bath in dust, like Kamonte, and they come here looking all fluffy. This cat is white. I, therefore, would, if it was within my ability to do so, have literally raised a cat from kitten, from like fresh out of its mama's womb in the house, that it might never ever get used to being outside, because an indoor cat that is an outdoor cat that then gets converted into an indoor cat is going to be a depressed cat. It's going to be sad. So cats that are able to go outside are much happier because they get to climb trees and what have you, but there is a way around doing your house in a way that accommodates digate. Like you can hook up all different kinds of obstacle courses in your home that are very decor suave, so they don't look like animal, like jungle gyms inside the house. It's actually very decoratively cute looking. There's a way to do that, even in a small little 1-bedroom apartment, like a 2-bed. It doesn't even have to be a mansion, but if it's a mansion, then ideal, because the cat will have a lot more space to roam in. There are ways around it. There's something called a catio, which is this obstacle course that you can buy from like a builder's warehouse or whatever, and put it in your patio, but the patio is enclosed, and it feels like it's outside, but it's like got a mesh fence or something that make sure that the cat cannot go outside, but it's given an outside experience. I would have done something like that for my animal. I wanted to get 2 cats, like 2 really cute, beautiful cats, alright, for inside the house, because they're just the most beautiful animals, and they have these nuances about them, like everything about it, they're just cute, okay? They're very cute. They do things that just make you go, ah, like a lot. And they're not as hectic as dogs, like they don't knock things over. Okay, there's some naughty cats that do, but they don't knock things over. They're very stealthy, and they land very well everywhere, so they don't like mess up, and they're not full of noise. They are yeah, so it's like it's a clean way to have a pet. Dogs are very hyperactive. You have to have a lot of space for dogs, and also you have to be prepared. And dogs also, potty training is just like training them to not pee and poop in your house. It's just hard. Whereas with cats, it like comes inbuilt with them. They know not to poop or pee just here. They just are inherently made that way by God. So there's very little training that is involved in owning cats. So it's the lazy man's pet, basically. A cat is a lazy man's pet, and I am somewhat lazy when it comes to animals. right? And they also clean, they're self-grooming. They like, you will rarely ever, unless there's something wrong, the cat is to go and ever find like a stain on your bed type thing. They do their stuff in private, and this, like, if you teach yourself how to take care of a cat, you'll be good. Like, you'll be very happy, and they're very beautiful. And when they're clean, my goodness, like, you will not be able to get over them. You will not be able to get over what under heaven you want to do with them. So I intended to get a cat. I wanted one prior to losing everything, but then I lost everything, so I wasn't able to get a pet. I did also want dogs. My dogs, for me, I wanted to have my own standalone house, and I also wanted to have like an estate, a large enough property to do that. Dogs, you gotta walk them. Dogs, you gotta teach them. Like, there's just a lot. My first ever pet would have been a cat, and I would have left it in the house. I would have trained it to be an indoor cat, to take care of itself, have a little bit of a cat TV through my balcony window. I was gonna leave it in the house, and it was never gonna travel through the complex. It would have elongated its life. It will have had a longer lifespan, basically. Alongside that, it would have been really super clean, and all I would worry about is like just the fluff hairs that I would just vacuum off. They wouldn't be dirty hairs, and I would take it to the grooming parlor once a month or once every 2 months to actually get scrubby dub, so it would be made super duper clean. And so I was just gonna, like, I'm such a cat lady that I watch cat videos like all the time on YouTube. Like, that's the kind of person I am when it comes to cats. So I really love my cat. Like, you must get that. I love cats. It's just my thing. Maybe it's because I have a cat like way above myself. I'm also quite stealthy many lives. You get my point. But I dig cats. They're suave like that. They're svelte. They just have a thing about them. Mara, my life conditions. I thought that I'd be out of here in 5 seconds. I wanted to make my cat an outdoor cat. It was a rescue cat. I got it it was a kitten. It was raining one day. It obviously comes from somebody because it has been neutered. In other words, it can't have babies, right? It's a female. This was a check that was done by an actual vet, but that was the last time I was ever able to take this cat to a vet. So it did belong to someone who intentionally wanted an animal. There was somebody who it belonged to. Godwa. It was thunderstorming like no man's business, and it was just chilling here as a kitten. It was a kitten. It was obviously a kitten. It was very small, and it was just lost, and it was freaking out in this like ridiculous weather. And we sent out a WhatsApp in the complex on something. There's like a white cat, like, somebody own it, what's going on? There's a cat that's lost, and the cat just would not leave, and it was freaking out, and it was all thunderous. And this is one guy in the complex that really loves animals. Like, he's got a bunch of them, cats and dogs, and he was like so freaking worried about it, and he tried to bring it in to his own house, but he's got another cat, and cats are very territorial. So there was a war there between his cat and this cat, which then became my cat. So because it was like all stranded here, he gave me some little cat food thing just in case it wanted food, and I just put it right there, and water type establishment thing. And the cat just like eventually was like, it was so scared, and it was a dingy time, it was a murky time, like right now, all rainy outside. So I just felt so horrible. It was just so sad to watch this cat chill in the car and freak out when there's like lightning and winds. There was just gale force winds all over the show. So I brought it inside, and it slept here overnight, like inside this joint overnight. My mom like said that she's got allergies for cats, so it couldn't be in the house type thing, blah blah blah. What about a fish paste? 5 seconds later, 10 million decades later, it's the next day, and I'm expecting the cat to like go to wherever it comes from. I figured that it was running away from the weather because it was like quite a blizzardy day, and I thought that this cat has its own owner. I mean, it was a clean, beautiful white cat in this like neighborhood. There's no way it was a stray, like or whatever. No, it was properly like somebody's like beloved animal, and I expected the cat to go back to wherever it is that it came from. Nobody responded to a WhatsApp sent out across the community. Like, the guy with the body corporate here even sent a message out to complexes outside of this one, just letting them know like there's a whole networking community in this general like section of complexes. Nobody came forward and said our cat is missing. No, like, we even went to the vet to find out if there's anybody that has sent a flyer to the vet saying there's this particular cat missing. It's got yellow eyes or greenish eyes, and it's white, and it looks like it's under a year old. We did all that. Like, we did all that with the help of this this neighbor guy, the body corporate Oki. We did all that, and like nobody came forward and said that's my animal type thing. And because of having slept in here, and it was just like it got fed, so it just like it would leave, and I would expect that it wouldn't come back for like to go do its escapades or whatever, climb up trees, but then it just kept coming back. So I was like, what do we do? Nobody is claiming it. And I have always loved cats, so I was kind of besotted with it. And Barbara was busy talking about how it is that she's got an allergy, so she can't let the cat be inside the house, blah blah blah. But like, it was so gorgeous, this cat, that my mom like fell in love with it as well. So everybody was just like, I mean, it's not too much of a bother, so we kept it. But it's my cat, and the whole rules of engagement with that, it would be my cat, meaning that if it's sleeping indoors, it must sleep with me. It must be with me in this like tiny little mukuku. Yes, there are times when the cat has slept in the house, on the carpet, on the lounge, on the like the couch, and what have you. Mara, it prefers to be this side. Like, it just prefers this tiny little. It's got a prison mindset too, like a cage mentality. I don't know. Like, it's like, don't you see this? This is a tiny little boring space. Why do you want to be in here? So the cat prefers to be in here. It's not like it's restricted from being in the house. It just prefers to be here. So I have to deal with opening a window for it to come and go, and yo guys, whoa. And I wanted like I had plans to quickly retrain it to be an indoor cat because I got it at a relatively tiny size. Like it was a kitten. It was a kitten. I got it at a relatively tiny size, so I could have changed it. It's, old habits die hard. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, you can't teach an old cat new living conditions. I had a plan to change its ways because I was going to move out, and once moving out, I would then make it an indoor cat. You can't make a cat an indoor cat in a small little one-room establishment. It's just animal abuse. Like, there's no roaming space, no moving ability. Like, it has to be at a minimum like a one-bedroom apartment, and it can go to the lounge, the kitchen. It needs to be able to move around, or else it's going to be miserable. So I can't just keep the cat in here. Plus, I did not have all the resources I needed, like a potty, a kitty, what do you call this, kitty litter, and all that jazz. So we don't use kitty litter. Because of the fact that the cat just does its business in the garden and digs a hole and whatnot. So the cat is now officially, it's about 2 years down the line, it's officially now an outdoor cat, and there's no going back from there. But my frustrations now with the cat being an outdoor, I had a season when I was dealing with it bringing prey aside, like proper birds, like ew. That's why I don't open the window anymore. Literally no fresh air comes into this environment because I'm scared that the cat is going to rock up with prey in its mouth, and I don't want that prey inside here. I've had 3 events where that happened, and so I had to start closing the window. When it rains, it gets all murky outside, the floor is all, wet, and then it just comes in through the window and lands on my sheet with those paws. Sometimes it comes here looking so soiled because of, what do they call this thing? Bathing, like mud bathing. What do they call it? I had dust bathing. Because of dust bathing, it comes in here literally looking so bright, and it's a white cat. That's the thing. I could have handled if it was perhaps one of those brown ones, looking like Garfield or whatever, but no, it's a white cat. So I see how dirty it is, and washing it is, if you've tried to wash a cat, you would know that it's just really freaking tough, right? Cats hate water, and dogs that will celebrate you for dunking them in some water. Cats hate water. That's the downside. So the best way then to protect yourself from a dirty cat is to not let cats go outside, even though they're happier when they're outside. But if you train it from being a kitten, to just always live in the house, it's not gonna miss being outside. It's like a cage mentality, proper full on. And I wanted to retrain my cat to be an indoor animal after moving out, and it's been, like I said, 2 years. So now I'm stranded with a cat, and the past few days it's been raining like no man's business. The cat has come in, and that's why I guess I changing my bed linen. Literally, the weather determines when I change my bed linen, due to the fact that I have a cat. So if it's raining out, it's a waste of time to change my bed linen because the cat is going to be getting those grubby paws on my linen. I put a blanket on top so the cat can land on it, and then the blanket I can put it in the washing machine real quick so I don't have to change my bed linen every 2 days type thing. But sometimes the cat just gets because it's got the zoomies or whatever, it then gets on my sheets type thing, and the paws are muddy, and it's yo guys, and it's made me literally lose affection for the cat. It's made me I feel like I regret rescuing it. I regret rescuing it. I regret the owner not coming forward and saying, this is my cat. I can't take it to the vet. I can't take it to the grooming parlor. I have nothing to my name. So the person who basically agreed that she would help me, Gagadze, is not doing that. I don't have a means to take the cat to the vet for vaccinations, immunizations, nothing. So I have to pray that the cat doesn't get sick and then die, because I can't take it for a basic flu shot or whatever. Right now, it's got a scab on just behind its neck, and I can see it. I don't know what it is. And I can't take it to the vet. I have no money. That is how cruel my living conditions are. That's just how much no one cares, and the situation is just getting worse and worse. So now I don't know what to do with this animal. I feel frustrated every time it meows outside wanting to come in. One, because it's grimy, it's dirty, it's got scabs on its body, so I don't know if whatever it's got is contagious, it's going to come off me. And on top of that, I'm worried about the health of the cat. And then when it's rainy, I can't even keep myself clean in this environment just by myself. I have to deal with the fact that a muddy, moist cat sometimes comes in here, and oh goodness gracious, I just guys, these are my living conditions, and my own family is making me live like this. And now over and above it, I've got an animal that is ever roaming around in the dust outside, literally sleeping on my bed. And there's nothing I can do about that. These are my living conditions. So I've lost much of my affections for my cat, because the nice thing about animals is that you love them because they look so cute. They are so darned adorable. But when you're dealing with a white cat that's always grubby, no matter how many times you try to wash it, that's another thing. You can't just cleanse an animal with shampoo. Regular shampoo that you bought, even if it's sulfate and paraben free, doesn't matter. You have to buy an animal shampoo that is indeed manufactured for such a purpose as that, because they've got different types of skin than us. If you use a regular shampoo, the cat might react allergically to it. I don't have cat shampoo. I've asked. It's not like I haven't asked. I have. I don't have cat shampoo. I don't have any, even if I can't take it to a grooming parlor myself, and I have to shower, wash the cat myself in the shower, I get cat. I wear protective gear, you don't understand. I go in the shower, I got jazz and everything, and this is to protect myself from the nails. I don't even have a nail clipper for a cat. I don't know how to groom it. I don't have the means. Even if I could teach myself, I don't have the means. There's nothing you can't learn on YouTube. These are my living conditions. And people don't freaking care that this is going on. Literally, I could be found hanging on a noose, having killed myself because I got too pressurized by too many damn things falling off the bandwagon in my life. And everybody is just going through each and every single day, entering into it and letting the sun set at the end of it, with those conditions being true, with my life being in danger every single day, with me living an irresponsibly kept life, basically, for a human being, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And no one cares. And over and above it, I have to deal with dirty bed linen that I can't change if it's raining. I have to use the bathroom, not Kamunde, but I have to, like in the past few days it's been raining like no man's business. And if I need to pee in the middle of the night, I have to go through freaking like rain. I don't know how this became my life. There are people that pelang sona. Mara, I don't belong to a family set that has ever had those kinds of conditions. Extended family, and especially in my immediate family. So they've basically given me a Cinderella life. And these are my living conditions, so that now one day I might just, I don't know, accommodate some silly man that's gonna rock up and be like, look, I'll even like buy you everything you need for your cat. It's like, you're disgusting, you're gross, I don't want you, I don't want to get married. I don't believe that marriage is a solution to everything. I need my life back. I need a career. I need to be strong as a woman. I'm too intelligent to be some little man's wife. And they're just sitting around waiting for me to do stuff like that. That's what witchcraft does. This is the life that I have been given. I didn't choose it, and I was also not born into it. I'm not a victim of my circumstances. I am not a person that is potentially suffering like this because I guess I was born wrong, you know? I was born into a family of people that are just struggling. Like, my mama was a maid, and my daddy was like a gardener. So, I mean, it is what it is. Just take it. Just deal. I was born into a pretty relatively comfortable family, and for me to be living like this is a freaking travesty. It's an abomination. Do you understand? Literally, my socioeconomic class is different from all of my family members, including my immediate, and it does not make sense at all. And that is the plague or the pandemic, the disease, the gangrene, if you want to call it that, inside the black families, the black man's genome. Like, black people do this to each other. Do you understand? The flaws somewhere for a career. Having been a program manager once, I've been told to go and scan groceries at the local Woolies, for crying out loud. I haven't come from the kind of career that I come from. That's the black community for you. And then they claim that white people are our biggest problem, white supremacy is an issue, and then they go on rioting on rooftops, Black Lives Matter, crying, causing the whole damn planet to defund the police when they are responsible for the largest killings of black people in their communities. They are literally the single most destructive demographic against their own people than anybody else. Black people are dying. I'm not going to cancel that off. Black people are being dealt a bad blow in this world. I'm not going to do away with racism. It definitely is alive and well. It's real. Mara. Black people are responsible for the majority of black suffering. And I am a person living in a socio-economic group that is uncharacteristic of any of my family members. That ought be a travesty, and yet in the black community it is a freaking commonality. It is something that just occurs, like the breath and different coming in and out of your lungs, the way it's so second nature. It is absolutely feasible for within black families there to be a person that's a hobo while there is an uncle that is a CEO of an organization. Stuff like that happens in the black community, and I'm trying to fight against that. The defeatism of these blackos out in these streets. And when then you lament and fight this way as a black person against black defeatism, they then call you an Uncle Tom. So whatever you want to term me or label me, do whatever you want to do. But for me to be living with a cat in a tiny little enclosed environment where my sheets have to continually get grubby, and I can't change the bed linen if at all it rains, and I have to just take in my stride that I may very potentially be getting some kind of animal disease transferred onto me because I'm sleeping so close, most likely to a cat that's always bathing in the dust. If at all, in order to conquer that, I have to call black people out for what it is that they do to others, then I will do exactly that, because who the hell is content as a family member to watch one of their own suffer so exquisitely? Black people do stuff like that. They just turn a blind eye and they act as if though nothing freaking happened. Anyway, that was just a backstory on the cat. So if you see it coming in and out, and if you see me looking somewhere kind of harsh towards the cat, it's only because my affections have been made to dwindle for an animal that I cannot take care of. I feel stranded and trapped with it. And yet, people are trying to get me to have a baby. Like, a cat is low freaking maintenance. It's not a human being, for crying out loud. And they want me to have a baby in the squalor. Only black people do stuff like that. Only black people will go on right ahead popping babies, banging anything at all to their name. Only black people are happy to go and proliferate such a gangster agenda. Do you? Marana, and if it makes me an Uncle Tom, then at least it makes me an Uncle Tom that's safe, not bringing a child into a world that's just going to spit on its body. Why? Due to the fact that this world is full of disrespected elitists, especially among the black community. So if I'm disrespected as a woman, understand that my kid will automatically be by collateral damage. Also suffer disrespect, because poor people in our community are just spat on, like phlegm on their bodies. That is the consistency of hydrochloric acid, so it burns into the skin. That's what the poor among the black community get treated like. I can't. I am not going to bring a child into so much freaking squalor and suffering. I am not a victim of my circumstances. I'm a victim of black defeatism. But if I have a child, that kid will be a victim of her or his circumstances. And yet people are expecting me to freaking have a baby. So I just want to show you how quickly it is with all of my hair having been done now. I've been speaking for 29 minutes, literally way too long. I struggle to multitask, and I have made that clear so very many times. So I do apologize if I've been rapping forever and a day. Just to see how fast this process is when all of your hair is prepared. It should not take that long for me to finalize this whole situation. No, Meg, please do not just go black screen on me. It's really quick. It's really quick if you are not doing any other extra stuff. There we go. Boom. It's in. Second one. I'm just going to do like 4 or 5, like the first row. And then you're going to see that this actually does take about 45 minutes insofar as your hair is ready in advance. The longest amount of time is in hair prep, and I did already highlight that the other day. Hair prep is your biggest nightmare, your biggest monster, and a way around hair prep also is to buy it already pre-stretched. For those of you who do have the money to do so, you can buy it pre-stretched, but I don't have the money, so I have to stretch my own hair, I have to prepare my own hair, I have to tease my own hair before I can install it. That takes a bit of time on its own, but I'm all about trying to save people time, and so my counsel to you would be to buy it pre-stretched if at all you don't want to have to go through that laborious situation. But sometimes pre-stretched hair doesn't quite come with the consistency that you want it to be. Sometimes it's just better to do it yourself, you know what I mean? Mara, if you trust the pre-stretched version, if you go to Raf, go Heel Bro, I don't know if they still have Raf, go to Heel Bro. There's literally nowhere else in JHB in Johannesburg that has better hair than Raf. Like Kwako, Kimperia, Yovel, or what? Downtown Joburg, like yeah. They have the best hair and for really reasonable prices. I suspect it still exists because it's like a central hub for lots and lots of hair salons, especially that are run by people that live in that area, like ouch, the Congolese and the Nigerians. So I seriously doubt that it's not in existence anymore unless coronavirus destroyed that business. I do doubt it though. So if you go to Rough and you find pre-stretched hair, then good for you. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do it yourself. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like you're in Rough, right? Like black girls. Just because you live in Sandton doesn't mean that you haven't, like, you know, kibela ditexinyana or two to go to downtown Joburg. Your humble beginnings, Zainwele, started there. And sometimes it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Even when you start making money, there are some places where, like, literally they don't do better. Like, it don't get no better than that. It's like Ikota, you know. Sometimes you gotta travel to Soweto because, like, you're just not gonna get it right. Go 4 ways, you know. I found out Uti there's like a joint that thinks I'm going 4 ways called Ikaslam or something. I don't know how good it is, but I don't know, they be the judge of that. Like bringing the car seat to the burbs, sometimes, you know, it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You kind of gotta have to go back to the hood to get yourself a quota, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about hair, Iraf. So did you like that? That's the whole of the first row. Like I just did that in under a minute. Like, okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. They press a minute tops. I did that in a minute. Like, look, all of it is in. It's so quick if you already have your hair pre-stretched. Shall we do that one more time with the second row? The situation is I did already highlight to you what under heaven to do, how to install this, right? But I also gave you counsel to go to Brianna Rada or Shian Okimi, Shian, she pronounces the Shian, or a myriad of other ladies. It's just that these are the ones that I tried into. If you want an up-close look as to how to install hair using a crochet hook, and also braiding patterns in order to do that. Mind you, this braiding pattern, the nice thing about crochet hair is that it doesn't have to be soft dread like what it is that I've got in right now. It can be any hair that you want to put in, like little weave. If anything, weaves looks so much better and so much more natural this way as opposed to using baby's on this thing, like sewing it in. It looks so much better this way, and it's also on your scalp by sugi type thing. It's not like your wig that you have to take out at the end of each night. It's on your head, and the nice thing about it, you don't have to see controls alcohol that are getting all nasty over time, you know, because like you've properly like sewed it in. But this is not a sew-in; it's a crochet look. And I mean, the reason why chiquitas adore themselves lace front waist is because it looks like their own natural hair. But at the end of the day, it's still a wig, so you can't be hectic with it. You can't just run it through your own hair. Like black chicks, you know how you colored chicks or white chicks when they can just do this with their hair, and all you see are tracks of their scalp. While when I wear something, it's like the only thing that you can do that with is braids, where you can see tracks of your scalp. Mara, if you want like weave hair, like natural flowing long, not natural, sorry, synthetic hair, or Brazilian hair that looks like it's growing from out of your own scalp, the best way to get that done, where you're gonna have the colored girl experience or the white girl experience, where you can just run your fingers through and then people see your scalp, the way to do that is crochet. Because if you do your tracks, your cornrows, however many of them you want, depending on the amount of body how is scalp and you can flow it left and right and do what you want. It's just art, y'all. Like wait a Picasso. I'm speaking Van Gogh before they install the painting. Did they recover that painting, by the way? That Van Gogh in Amsterdam. Whatever. But like you be out, you're looking at some hard knock artwork. With smooth slick hair, and because the cornrows you tend to like plait right like on your scalp. Like the thing about us natural chicks is the weave, man, it's so hard to get them to look like too, because we've got in afro pants, but if you've got cornrows underneath, especially when your cornrows are like super duper fresh, when you run your fingers like that, it looks like your own hair. And as time progresses, it just looks as if though you une growth magic. And so you know how relaxed hair underneath you see growth in the pansy. It looks like une growth. Like even when your hair starts to grow, it looks like it's your own natural hair growing out of your scalp. It's ridiculous. Like when I discovered crochet hair, yes, like doing hair using a crochet hook, I was like, never again will I go back to tracks, to sew-ins. I won't, because it gives you such a natural look. It gives you such a natural look, and it gives you the relaxed girl experience without having to touch your afro, without having to mess up with your own natural hair. It gives you the kinky, like this. You can do this thing that I'm doing now with any type of hair. That you can also, like, if at all, like, our own afros are quite a lot of hard work to grow, and they also fall off very easily if you don't take care of it, blah blah blah, because it's like all sensitive type establishment thing. That's our afros. Okay. Kodwa, the glory and the beauty of this crochet method is that you can get the afro look, because you know how we afro, we sometimes complain at the point of growing this beautiful mane, kodwa, like, no one ever gets to see it. Well, you can buy an afro, like afro texture type hair and install it crochet, and that is the kind that you can just leave out. And, you know, when the elements beat against it, it's beating against fake hair. It's not your own actual natural hair. So if you keep it for like just a month, it's cool. Keep it just for 3 weeks, it's cool, but at least your own natural hair is being protected underneath that. So you get to do whatever you want, like whatever you want, and get a very natural look. Okay, so I have gone. Okay, let me just finish the rest of this row, and then I will show you what I mean by, let me run my fingers through your dreadlocks. Look, but it's not dreadlocks. It looks like, you know, there's Zako growing out of iskal Sako. Ngoba wena wing gakara of a Chekira that knows how to do izinto njenge boso. What? Like, you will never ever go back to sew-ins. You will never ever go back to a hairstylist that doesn't know what a crochet hook is. You will never go back to some chick fella who's a one-trick pony. We get popcorn, watching something on YouTube or Netflix and get out of there looking like that chick that got this hair natural. Like, it's like yours, it's alcohol type thing. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Okay, so all of this is what it is that I have learned in this season of attrition, because that's literally what it is, like pressurizing me by lots and lots of force in order to do things I don't want to do. So you make my life a living misery and make me live with a grimy cat. Like, yeah, the intention is to get me to like down tools or die off or whatever. And I'm like, who in the world downs tools on a freaking multi-million rand lawsuit? And secondly, who downs tools on justice when people went and destroyed an entire career? I was a little girl once upon a time growing up that had dreams, and I fulfilled them. This was a figure on Tatala thing. I do not twins grapes, not is briggy grapes. One Tatala Zimbawa, Mkarway in like grade 4 or whatnot, Lorang. Link gets it into the back. I'm going to get my stuff back. Like, you don't just get to give up on dreams you built, like goals you reached, like milestones you actually conquered. Like things you dreamt about when you were 7 years old, and now you were walking in them, looking at your like paradise, your empire that you've built. This one doesn't figure grapes. Exactly, yeah. I'm not gonna give up on that. Like, I'm coming back for you, proper. Like, hard knock. Like, Nyabuya, hey, boomerang. That's my name. Like, best belief type establishment thing. So yeah, okay, cool. I think with all that chit chatter, I might have prospered to distract you from the fact that I'm literally buying time here, so you don't think I'm boring. I just want to prove a point about how quick this procedure is. It's like an outpatient surgery, guys. Hey, they just like cut you a little bit, extract something, and you're good to go same day. You can even drive. Yes, this crochet situation is like outpatient surgery. In and out same day. Barely feel the effects. Later, that you thought you could replace with like ways. I don't know. Do the mathematics. Maybe it's actually good, but I derived from Ikasi. I don't know about you, you know. Guys. But you know, because then like so I get working at getting because I mean, who does that? Anyway, whatever, cool. To you guys, it's business ideas. I'm actually quite proud of you. But you know, this is life, South Africa. You win some, you lose some, except no, you win some, and then people make sure you lose everything else. Okay, black man's trajectory be like. Hey, the other day I was talking about how Black people's lives are like, they take on the form of a wave, like a frequency wave, where it's like they've got these peaks and troughs throughout their lives. They hit these gargantuan successes, and then like somebody will have a drip afterwards, and so buy a flop, and it just carries on like that all throughout their life until one day they just like living some mediocre lifestyle when they had the level of talent and skill to end up billionaires. Maramoto since I'm busy, I had to go 2-bedroom apartment at the age of 50. It's like, whoa, that's the black man's nightmarish existence because of black people's defeatism. Anyway, cool. So this whole side of the face, like because my hair was already pre-done, pre-stretched or whatever, it took such a short space of time with me being all loquacious. Now I want to show you. Then let me run my fingers through your dreadlocks experience. I will show it to you at the end of this once and for all when I'm done. Obviously I'm gonna need more hair. As you can see, this is all that's left right now. So I'm just gonna like put that on time lapse or whatever. Mara situation apa. Jongan guys, imagine you're like chilling there on some, oh guys, I'm having like a virgin strawberry daiquiri here at Premium Party and I'm just killing it, and look at me sipping through a straw. It just feels so good to see you guys. I don't know, like, when was the last time I saw you, you know, like, oh my goodness, like, what's it been, like 6 years? My goodness, chick, where you been though? Like, how in the world did you just disappear for like so long though? Otoriso ke mo o gotlileng ke lezina rona gale re go gopotse tle he wetsi wa pele wa itlatlela le wena ka bagara disappearance tante re go etseng maraka o le jana ke o ka nyamela jwang on us like this o etsa jwang ntshonyana tse jwang o ke lezina o nyamela jwang sister mo ra go fela like proper. You get to play with the hair and your tracks show. the tracks underneath of which look like, you know, you just like running your fingers through and it's your own natural hair. Gotta love the crochet look. I will show it to you, the final result, when I'm done with everything. It's of course not going to be as impressive because I guess for now one last packet, and I'm just only going to do half of them because I don't think I'll need the whole pack. So this here so far is 2 packs, and look at it. Let me just look at this, guys. Like, hey, already I bet you be giving a sister a round of applause. Like, already, okay, like what? Okay, cool beans, I'm anonymous, guys. Let's just get straight into this. I've been talking for like ever and a day. Later, gators, if you're fitting. Bye.
I did to like my blues away. Spent them all on you, and I just now cut that way. Sick on my phone, but we got no sense to say. Me and my one child, mine at home. Slipping away.
That's lucky. I used all 3 packs, all 3, and it's 23:55, just almost midnight. And this is the final look. I am bushed. I did not expect to take this long, but then again, I did not expect to have this much body. It took me a lot longer than expected, but it is what it is. Here's the hair, all. It looks so much better than last time. My goodness, it's just so glorious. It is just so glorious. There's the finished product, you guys. I don't know, like, what do you think? Remember that thing that I was talking about with like messing with your hair as you desire, and it does not like show ugly tracks or marks or whatever? This is what I meant. Like, you can do whatever you want with it if you let it free like that. You can totally be at your luncheon, your dinner, or whatever might be the thing that you're at, and like mess with it like that. Just mess with it like that. Like, you know, flirty. It's gonna be looking so bouse on the dance floor. Like, I can't even wait. I'm gonna have to wear a nose ring for this because this nose stud, when I'm like whipping my hair and whatnot, like my hair hooks onto it. Like, yeah, in the middle of exercise, like stuff like this happens and it just looks nasty. So the way that I circumvent that, overcome that particular situation, is to wear a nose ring. Then in that way it's just like smooth across my nose. I like move it around. It's got like a stud on it, but then I take the stud portion and put it inside my nose, and then my hair just like is smooth across it. So we're going to be changing both the look on the nose and the look of the hair. Maybe I should just go on right ahead and change my nose stud right now, from what it is that I've got going down. Where did I put my what's on this thing? It's looking so good. This is what I meant, guys. Like, you can do stuff like that. It looks like your own hair. Hi guys, how you doing? Like, but yay. As it grows out, yes, here's my nose jewelry. As it grows out, I would disinfect this, but like, I'm completely healed, so it's not even an issue. What was I going to say? As it grows out, it's going to look more and more natural. Right now it's looking kind of rigid and static because of the fact that it's brand spanking new. So you see like some people might leave edges out, but remember I said the other day you can also buy edges. But as my hair grows out, I'll also be able to smooth it down like that so that it doesn't look so gangster. Rigid, like in your face demarcation. You can see where my palma starts, where my hair starts, where my hair starts. Righto, so indecisive as to which nose ring to wear. There's one that has like a stud on it, and then there's like another one that's just, okay, fine, whatever. Let's just take this out and I'll shape. Look, I'm completely healed when it comes to my piercings, so yes, I could totally disinfect, but whatever. This is the nose thingy-mabobby that I am going to be wearing now. I'm going to be using the mirror for this because you're far away, and everybody knows that a phone is not really a mirror, right? Da-da-da. I'm sorry. I'll be with you now. Oh, situation in Boris one. Just like this. Anyway. There it is. When I exercise this steady part, I just like move it inside. Then in that way, it's just my nose, and it's just like, doesn't hook. Anyway, whatever, cool beans and bananas. That's what's good. So my hair, y'all, looking like a bag of awesomeness. Looking like a bag of awesomeness. Remember that thing that I said, like, you can just like mess around with it. Mess around. You know how when you've got hair that's got like obvious tracks in it, you have to keep it with the demarcation line that you want to like this hair just hooked onto my nose ring. Because the stud portion is up. Like sometimes, like if you've got a line apart like, oh goodness, like everything here, I bump into everything because this environment is so tiny. Anyway, whatever, I've got a part over there. Sometimes when you've got getting hair done like this and on a part, sometimes it will keep the hair like that, like all the time, like all the time. But with this one, you can literally like all day long, you be out in the office and then your hair like falls on your face and you get annoyed. You just do like that and you continue to type. Like it's just literally like your own hair. I just love this. Oh, it's midnight and there's a power cut and it's gonna be so. Oh, this is a power cut, just in case you're wondering what in the world just happened. This is South Africa and it's gonna be like 2 hours before the power is restored. I'm so totally annoyed. I've got like a lamp light thingy my bobby here. Oh goodness gracious, I need to make dinner, but it's fine. There's a gas stove in the house. But I'm gonna be sitting here thinking about my dingy life the whole time. Anyway, whatever, it's fine, it's cool. We'll sit it out. South Africa, it's a whole bunch of flames. It's been raining, so now a power cut. Anyway, my hair is so glorious looking that I can't even show it to you properly other than Lebonai and Elena. These are like, this is my reality. Like throughout my journey that I've been recording, we've been experiencing stuff like this. Like I be in the middle of sign and then next thing power cut. So the video basically in the background that would have been the Mac version is gone altogether, but thank God we've got phones. And my life conditions are so whack that I can't afford to get like lights and record anyway, in spite of there being power cuts like that operate good battery and stuff like that. This is the nature of a content creator reality, really, that has no money. Like you gotta deal with that. These are your living conditions. Situation in ne yo handle sentle now. I was gonna show it to you as to how you can put this up in a high bun. Wada mara. So I'm going to be eating in the dark and probably thinking about my dingy life for like 2 hours. And then the part's going to come back on. I'm probably not going to sleep because I don't sleep at like 2 a.m. in the morning. Because guess the whole time. I stay awake praying because it's just the way my schedule is. Anyway, whatever, cool. So at this point, so it's just all a waste of time. This was good. But welcome to Africa. I'm so very soon this is going to be Europe too, thanks to Vladimir Putin. Yeah. I can't even finish showing you my hair. Like I can't. Should I take this thing and like be like, hey guys, this is this is what I mean. Like guys, hello, like I am the window viper. I've come to vibe your window. Because everything is just ghostly. I'm gonna have to sign out, you guys. This is South Africa. Remember the thing that I wrote in the blog the other day on my WordPress account about business interruption? Yeah, if like I was a business, if my YouTube channel was a business, which indeed at some point it's going to become a business, if I was like some kind of a going concern, like selling stuff, I literally just like we stopped now. The overhead projector is not working. I was doing a PowerPoint presentation, it's not anywhere to be found anymore, and I've been blinded from my speech, so I guess we're gonna have to call it a night. You know, pack up some bags, suitcases, skedaddle on out of here, and come back when Eskom has decided to just behave or something. Business interruption. So hard knock is the business interruption that like South Africa has got the highest failure rate of small to medium enterprises in the world. It's a global crisis. So once had this hair when it's like whipping back and forth, making like Willow Smith. And tomorrow I will also be doing my bed linen because I'm finally done with the hair. And the sun is totally coming out, except now when the sun comes out there's a power cut. And these power cuts, they're probably going to be going on for the next like week. Maybe they might even be a 24-hour one because it rained all week and they're trying to make us believe that there's nothing wrong, or if there is something wrong, it's not too bad. Except all this stuff is freaking planned. Everything is planned. It's a pandemic. It is a planned war, a planned power cut crisis, a planned like they're trying to hook up a one world government and make people like Arabo, i.e. Christians, sound like conspiracy theorists until stuff comes to pass. Whatever. I gotta go and boil my food like old school vibes. Like literally, I'm gonna put some water inside a pot and then put my plate on the pot and then cover it so that steam can heat my food. In 2021. Sharp. Whatever, I'm Zancy. Die, dirty rat, die. Just die. I'm so freaking fabulous right now. I'm scared to press that like, you know, off button. Lest people should be like, oh my goodness, no, I just couldn't get enough of the fabulosity. But I gotta switch it off. Why? Because South Africa said I must. Business interruption. Where's my million? Not today, Garabo. Are you serious? But I want to make money and I want to contribute to the economy. What are you doing? Like, don't do it, Mr. President. Don't do it. It's not okay. I just want to work and laugh. It's my constitutional rights. Give me power. I can't afford a generator. Give me power. And he's like, whoops, sorry, sister. That's just the way life is, no? South Africa, what you expect of our own podcast 24 hours a day. Just be thankful that at least during the very rainy season, didn't have any problem. But you have electric blanket. If you're called to start old school, everybody's doing it. Everybody's coming up with alternative. It's called hot water bottle. You better be thankful that at least you have gas stove, because then you'd be dololo. Sitting around freezing, it's winter, no power. Well, I mean, we gave the example and now Europe is following suit. We've been complaining as Africa that everybody thinks that we are third world. Nobody take our example. Everybody's busy following the example of the superpower. And we're like, but what is wrong with us? Am I not impressive enough to be influential? Well, guess what? Now Europe is next. Now they're going to follow after me. I told you, just a little bit of patience. It works. It works, eh? Just a little bit of patience. You wait and then you see finally that power cuts in Africa one day they're gonna be a well trend. Just you bet, you will see it. You will see, I'm telling you now. Well, I mean, that's the thing about investing in things you never think will become big. It's like Y2K boom. Investment in all things technology, and then year 2000 comes, the world doesn't come to an end, but people make a lot of money because Y2K boom of information just going to everything. I'm like, Y2K, if you don't invest in me as some kind of a techno company, big business, well, you're lost. Shame over dollar sister. So me, I'm corruption government. If you don't invest in me, one day you're gonna realize that hey, I am infectious like the COVID-19. I'm infectious like the flu. I'm infectious like anything that is infectious. I am infectious like conjunctivitis. Yeah, you come to me, everybody have pink eye tomorrow because I've got pink eye. That's what corruption is. Everybody's infectious when they corrupt. Yeah, increase of love, lawlessness, just proliferate rubbish. And then one day people complain, they riot, they picket fence, they go and come up with all these placards, say, but no panting, a corruption panting. Just watch them dance around you on some. Give them 5 minutes. Give them 5 minutes tomorrow. They'll also be the ones racketeering. Tomorrow they'll also be the one tenderpreneuring by force without the proper procurement process. Tomorrow they're also going to be the one that are disenfranchising everybody in the country, because really at the end of the day everybody has a price. So look at Europe now. They're about to copy Africa. You'll be thinking about, why everybody living in the darkness of night? Why is everybody here in power cut crisis? I mean, what kind of a problem is this? Is this even a way to live? And they're like underestimating us here because we've got dark chocolate skin. Next thing, they are following our example. I'm like, Y2K investment in big tech company in the year 2000. You're gonna know what time it is. Anyone that does not invest in me, you're lost. You are not gonna see the big fat bomb of pyramid scheme. I'm gonna show them flames. I'm corrupt, and everybody's gonna follow after me in due season. You will see though. It'll happen in due season. It's not gonna be as fast as you expect, like lightning strike, you know, because obviously everybody's gonna first have to riot and toy. But afterwards, the people, I'm telling you, Vladimir Putin planned war, pandemic, planned everything. Okay, Tower of Babel. Nimrod ain't got nothing on us. You don't confuse our speech. Well, these days there's subtitles. You confuse our speech these days, there's interpreters. Even the sign language interpreters at Nelson Mandela's funeral that don't really know what in the world it is that sign language, and people eventually find out. We do that for years, and then eventually we get away with it. Why? Because everybody eventually follows our corruption, because everybody knows that if you go and you put red wine on a white carpet, the whole carpet is destroyed. But have you ever tried to disregard that red wine stain just because the majority of the carpet is red, is white? No, of course not. Why? Because that's the thing about being some stupid little guy on the corner of the street. Everybody eventually becomes like you. Or just give it a minute. Corrupt government. Toy. Do as much as you want. Do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, I'm infectious. I proliferate. I'm like gangrene. Tomorrow, you're going to have to amputate your whole leg because it's all spread, the infection. You're going to know what time it is. I know how to do corruption. I know how to do it. I'm influential, me. Hey, look at me. I'm sitting here like a king in Africa in a dark continent with no power cut, with no problem, with no everything. I've got power cuts 24 hours of correction. I wanted to say power cut crisis. Living in a country, living on a continent that is always dark. Every so often you'll be sitting having a whole lot of fun. And then next thing, power's gone. Why? Because I know how to influence even Amalungu. Just make them fighting there, get a little bit of a Putin in Ukraine. Next thing, they also know what it's like to be an African. Give it time. I mean, come on. You know what I do. All I do is just disregard people for long enough. When they toy, I tell them, okay, fine. And then they vote for me again. And then I'm like, got you again. And then I just sit here and I gather more dust. And then I just make people see that eventually I'm influential. There will be power cuts across the whole planet. If you think North Korea is a problem, wait until you see me as an African president, what I can do in my nation. I will take away power and people will have to go and cook their food again on Prema stove. It's what I do. In 2022, people are still getting Prema stove shack fires. What? Everybody should be out here in the streets now, using a torch. But no, in 2022, everybody's still busy using matches because it's just what I do. I do nothing for the people. I'm a kleptocracy. I just steal kleptomaniac. I've got Velcro hands, Everything is sticky. It just comes to me. I just have this magnetic hand. Everything just gravitates towards my hand and then I pocket it. I pocket it when I'm done. And then I switch off people power supply and I'm like, but I have a generator. Why don't you buy a generator? Why don't you buy a generator? Come here, complain and you lament. Come and give me problems about how it is that you pay electricity bill while you should also pay bill for generator. You don't want to do that. I guess you're going to have to suffocate then. You're going to have to suffocate. What must I do? I told told you, every man for himself. You won't come here and tell me rubbish. Look now, Europe is about to be like Africa. And you better be grateful because at least you guys have got the sun. They're going to just freeze. So, I mean, really, just be happy. Abantu abamnyama nje look so what vele. So, yini ngani complain? Prema stuff ikhona la angayisebenzisi. Yini ngani? Ngazongitshela mina ukuthi ngicorrupt. Absolute power corrupt, absolutely. Wena karaba hambo yonza ukudla kwakho ngeproma stuff ungazokutshela into eyiningi girl. Imali zakho wonke umuntu bekafuna ukuzibona, but I guess you're going to have to use natural lighting. Ilanga lisasekhona sister, but you're going to have to wait a couple of hours before it rises because that's just what I have to do. I said so, I've done it, it's what I'm about, and you must just deal. And you're going to know that it's time to deal because even Europe is going to follow after me. Matthew 24. Because of an increase in lawlessness, the love of many will grow cold. And because of a proliferation of wickedness that runs unchecked, wickedness will abound all over the earth. It's Bible prophecy. Good night. I'll show you tomorrow what my hair really looks like. Peace.
Just because I like it doesn't mean it's okay today. But don't you worry about me. It's not about that, you see. I'm all messed up, and honey, won't you please take it easy on me. It happens naturally. So just let that be. No, what did I say? I never wanted it this way. Now I'm packing up my heart. Will she like that after me? When I get over this, if she won't, well, here's my number anyway. Maybe you can call me someday. But don't you worry about me. It's not about that, you see.
Welcome to 2022. Welcome to South Africa. It's a freaking travesty.
Stop and honey, won't you please take it easy on me. It happens naturally. So just